All right, let's get into it. We got Nate and Bobby. Nate, you haven't really posted on YouTube. What's going on, dude?
I just don't have much to film right now. That's the problem.
No gambling to film?
No. Sometimes, you know,
Just become
you
a
don't,
gambling
you don't
channel.
let people know that you have a gambling problem, you know?
I mean, I didn't say it was a problem.
It's not a problem. I got it all figured out.
You have a system?
Yeah,
You're
that's it.
crushing
Just stay
marks.
out of the casino and you're good.
That only works so well when they put it in front of you on like steak and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, steak you can't really do down here. So
Not even with like a VPN.
you could try to do a VPN thing. I've tried to do that before. It didn't really work, so I just don't do it. Hard Rock stuff, you can do sports betting down here now, but that's about it. I'm not the greatest at it. James actually the other day, he's like, who are you picking for the fight? And I was like, well, this is who I got, and I lost every one. So I was like, so next time you ask, just do the opposite of whatever I said.
I actually won on that one.
Did you? Yeah, I didn't.
Even like Ty was talking about betting on like NASCAR, and I was like, I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I don't know. I don't want
No
to sit
idea.
there and watch the race for that long. So
That
Yeah.
kind of stuff, I don't gamble really a lot. I love slot machines, so I need to stay out of the casino for the most part. The last time I went, I won a lot of money, but
I wish we could bet on like Ultra Street and X275. I wish there
you
was
can
like
do
a
Yeah,
that
that'd
on
be
the
pretty
starting
cool.
line. But
On
they
the
had,
starting line.
They had started that win light bets thing for what was that? The World Series, one of the World Series of Pro Mods. And it wasn't for like real money, but you could bet and you had your own points on the app or whatever. And then they just disappeared. I don't know whatever happened to that.
I'd
but-
be all in on some drag racing gambling. That
yeah,
would-
if you got a certain amount of points, like I ended up getting like a T-shirt and a free hoodie or something from them because if you get a certain amount of points or you place well, you end up winning some cash or prizes or something like that. But I don't know whatever happened to them.
It's interesting because gambling is like an odd. It has to be done on like Native American land, like the Hard Rock.
Yeah, I don't know all the rules.
I don't know all the rules
Yeah,
behind
There's
that
such
either,
a
but-
weird situation there.
that's how a lot of the Indian tribes or whatever you want to call them that are left. That's how they make their money. And I'm pretty sure the Cherokee tribe like owns the Hard Rock or something like that, or a bunch of
Yeah.
them.
Wait, well, when I was growing
Seminole
up,
Hard Rock.
yeah, they
Well,
own the Hard Rock.
Yeah,
yeah.
the Cherokee tribe I think owns portion of or all of the Hard Rock.
It's like that all across the country because Long Island, it was what's the one on Long Island? You know
It's
it.
way out in Suffolk County. And,
But it's also
Yeah.
Native American owned, and they sell tobacco there with
Yeah,
no
no
tax.
tax, yeah.
So my uncle used to drag me up there to buy cigarettes every couple weeks. So have you guys explained what you and Bobby's situation is with starting the business? Like, well, you bringing Bobby into your
I had done
Yeah.
a video when we first started, like NK Performance as an actual company selling parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I put it in a video, but basically, we wanted to do something kind of together. He was working one place, I'm doing my thing, and I'm constantly every day having to hit him up. Hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. So basically, put it all in one building, spend a little money, put some inventory in the building. That way, we have what we have in stock. People can call, and we just kind of try to grow it into a bigger business.
and Bobby's already a valve train guy.
Yeah.
LS.
I wanted to be able to offer more than just valve train stuff
Yeah.
too, though. So
So-
that's why I kind of got with him, and we decided we could sell injectors, camshafts, valve train stuff.
Go fast, everything.
Yeah, basically stuff that I
Yeah.
tune on every day. And a long time ago when I actually met Bobby, I got him the job because I was friends with a couple people at Cam Motion. They were looking for people. So I ended up, hey, this guy knows a lot about stuff, surprisingly.
Yeah.
As young as he is, knows a lot about older stuff too, which is weird. He's like a 70-year-old trapped in a 20-year-old's body.
Like some small
tell
block
him how you
Chevy
met
junk.
me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, how I met Bobby, my cousin had like a 6-cylinder Camaro that was having a problem. So I think we had just put a transmission or something in it. And I was going for a test
Shout out
drive.
Doug.
Yeah, who now does all my filming and editing anyway. So I'm going for a test drive, and where my shop was, there's a high school like right near there, and it's got a really straight road in front of it. So I pull down there, just making a big loop to go back to the shop, and there's a car stopped in the road. And I had seen the car before. It was a, what was it, 72?
72, yeah.
72 Chevelle. I've seen it before cruising around town, and I was like, oh, look
In your
at
high
these,
school.
look at these
Yeah,
guys.
Driving a
It was
72 Chevelle.
It was a 355, and it was really slow.
Anyway, I pull
thought
up,
it was fast,
and they're out
though.
there like street outlaws, pouring puddles, getting ready to make a rip. Right in the middle of the road. I'm like, okay, this is like neighborhood stuff. Dude. It's not like
Yeah.
we live in the middle of nowhere.
was probably
So I pull up, I stop, and they're like trying to get me to go around. I'm like, no, I don't want to go around. I want to watch this. I want to see what's going on here. So I watch. He makes a hit. I follow down afterwards, and he's pulled over at the end of the street with the car shut off, checking
It was
spark
a red
plugs.
light. I was checking a plug.
Not only in like the middle of town, just pulls over like, yeah, I just made a hit. Let me just pull over and check the spark plugs right here.
In high school is wild to be doing that.
I was out of high school. I was
Yeah.
probably,
Or-
I was
Yeah,
like
he was fresh out of
19
high
or
school,
20,
probably.
But even around that time, I mean, most people not even thinking about like that kind of stuff at that time. At least I wasn't. I mean, I was
Yeah, high
car
school, I
illiterate.
wasn't that far into cars in high school at all.
I was pretty car illiterate at that time. But then, so you get your job at Cam Motion, and you test probably more camshafts than any person ever.
Yeah, we tested a lot of camshafts. One day we did like
Yeah, we actually did it cam
we did
test.
like 36 cams in one day,
Yeah.
and we had it to the point where we were changing the cam on the dyno in like 18 minutes.
Yeah.
God, that sounds miserable. But that seems like the most difficult part of most LSs is where the mystery kind of comes in is the valve train, I feel like. For most people,
It's not really much of a mystery, you know. For most street guys, the basic 1, 2, 3, or 4. You know,
Yeah.
depends on what cylinder head, what intake manifold.
but once you really start getting into it, and
Yeah.
like, you know, like an Ultra Street, like the
that's
car
where,
that you guys deal with,
that's where it gets serious.
that's where it starts to get like loses most people. Because like anybody can slap
Yeah.
in a, you know, stage 1 cam, stage
the
2
thing
cam.
is, like,
Yeah.
if you look at Ultra Street stuff, like the turbo stuff is turbo limited, and you know, you have to really manage back pressure is the problem. So, you know, the big motor is not really the ticket in Ultra Street for the turbo stuff.
Yeah, 'cause you have to
Normally-
use that 76 millimeter
Yeah,
turbo.
you're
No
still
matter
stuck with a
what
76.
engine you have, it's a 76 millimeter. Like,
Yeah.
not a good size turbo for
No,
a big.
especially not for 400 inches or bigger. I mean, there's a lot of 388 combos out there that do all right. I think even smaller is the ticket, but for that 76 at least.
There's a couple Coyotes that can make that 76.
Yeah,
work
Coyote.
pretty well.
Yeah, it's a small
Yeah,
motor.
small motor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Coyote.
true.
They're just good motors, period.
They flow so well.
Yeah.
that
There's things you could do in the camshaft to mitigate the back pressure
on the LSs.
Yeah.
on every engine. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that would, even like on Gonzo's car, it seems like the camshaft is probably
It's huge.
It's massive.
crazy
Yeah.
important on that deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you-
it's pretty
important.
critical. But
It's definitely critical, of course, because you're dealing with a lot of cylinder pressure in a nitro setup. But it's more forgiving. I mean, you can miss the mark pretty hard on a nitrous car, and it doesn't seem to care when it comes to camshaft. As long as you
Really?
yeah,
I
you
figured
can,
that would be such a different level.
no,
of
you can go
importance.
really.
he's saying like too big. If
Yeah,
you
you
get
can go-
too big, it's whatever. If you're too small, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna burn the thing up.
yeah,
Well, I was
you don't know
talking
what you're
to Matt, who does a lot of tuning with you, and he was like
Yeah.
saying how you guys sell camshafts to people that most people probably wouldn't realize are
Yeah.
running your cams, that you
Yeah.
guys are custom.
Yeah, we do a lot of drag racing stuff.
Yeah.
And the street stuff, I mean, there's a lot of guys that use Thule stuff and stuff like that. It's just the branding, that's where they go to. But we're trying to get into the street market. Some of the other stuff that, you know, forgotten markets like small block Chevy, big block Chevy,
Yeah.
small block Ford,
I
some of
actually
that
just
stuff.
put a bunch
Yeah.
of small block Ford and big block Chevy and stuff on the website. I think it's a market that's kind of gotten forgotten about. You know, like everybody is. I think there's still a big market and people forgot
For
about
the
them.
small block Fords,
Small block Ford, big block Chevy, small block Chevy.
those seem to be like an interesting motor, the small block Fords, because I don't know much about them, but I see a lot of people run them.
They run pretty
They're
good.
good.
They must RPM really well or something.
They have really good, like the LS deals, they have really good cylinder head packages.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'll catch a lot of slack for this.
don't
but
you
they're-
say it. Don't say it.
No, they're
Don't
better.
say it.
They're better than small block Chevrolet.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about a small block
Maybe not
Chevy.
cylinder head steel so much.
So
but
there's the diehard Ford guys out there want to claim the LS because it's such a good motor. So they try to say it's like a Gen 2 small block Ford. I thought that's where he was going with that.
It is crazy that they always make that argument because
Yeah.
I've never understood
there's some
that.
similarities without a
There
doubt,
are.
But
But all motors have similarities.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was so good they wanted to claim it also
Yeah.
until they came out with the Coyote. So
They all have some similarities. They're all rods and pistons. Like, I don't know.
yeah, it all goes round and round and makes compression, dude.
Yeah, if it's
90-degree
not a
V8,
rotary,
I mean,
they're
you can't
all-
make them
Yeah.
too different.
A copy of something.
Interference motor, dude. It's the same thing.
Yeah, that's not fun. My 2J is non-interference. I like
Yeah.
that.
Those
I don't know too much about rotary stuff.
For an engine that was produced that long, that is an impressive piece right there. 2J.
Oh yeah,
They're great.
And
I
yeah,
think that cylinder head was developed by Yamaha, wasn't it?
I
Yeah.
believe so. Yeah.
It's a cool. It's a really high flowing cylinder head. That's
Yeah.
the same like with the Coyotes. It's just all cylinder.
watching White Rice in X275 trim go out there and go
Oh, yeah.
409.
Oh,
They
yeah.
can't slow him
Like,
down.
What was the mile an hour in that deal too?
I don't know, 180 something. I don't know offhand, but
it was serious.
yeah, that thing's insane.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is that team has all of the dollar bills they could ever need to put behind that
And
car.
probably getting all the weight they could ever put in that car now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing with class racing, dude, is if you're going to be a front runner, dude, you got to have deep
Yeah.
pockets. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter what platform you're running.
Yep.
If you want
It
to
doesn't
be up
even matter what
front,
class you're running.
yeah,
mean-
just to run up front in anything, you have to have the money to spend and a lot of knowledge to go with it.
Well, Ultra Street seems like, is Ultra Street really the cheapest, or does it take a lot more because you have to
There's-
squeeze so much more out of it?
That's a problem there, right?
Yeah,
You know, when it comes to budget, I'd say probably limited street.
Even limited streets out of hand at this
235.
point.
and that's kind of new.
Yeah,
no,
well,
I mean-
it was
It's
235
re-brought
before.
back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, Ultra Street, if you got to look at the rule set, right? If you want to be small block nitrous, right, you're going to have a pretty
serious motor.
nice high dollar piece that's
Yeah.
going to handle it, that's going to make the power. Same thing with a
Small
turbo
block
motor.
nitrous needs help, right?
Yeah, small block nitrous needs help, dude.
Yeah,
Need some weight off.
I don't know if we could hashtag that anymore.
Yeah. Big block nitrous in that class, even those, if you want to be fast because of the weight that you have to weigh, you have to have a high dollar piece. Pro Charger guys, same thing. You're limited to a F1A94.
Yeah,
So you have to have a high horsepower motor that's going to flow really well. Use what you got.
And you're working within these super tight constraints
Yeah.
that, you could put together a combo that could run through the class, and then all of a sudden, the next race,
Yeah, you get a weight penalty.
you get a weight
That's it.
penalty or turbo penalty.
But you
That's how they keep them packed
Yeah,
together
you
so
see
quick.
how like 1 year it'll be nitrous, then it goes turbo, blower, and everybody kind of chases that around. Like Pro Chargers are huge right now. Well, screw blowers are making a comeback, so everybody's gonna start moving from everybody moves around, and if somebody starts going fast with a turbo, everybody's gonna go right back to where the turbo is. Just kind of where the rules sit at the time of when you're racing.
You see that all steel all glass car
Which one?
at Lights Out that had the blower out the hood, the
No.
Camaro,
Was it the fourth gen?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the all fiberglass, some steel car.
Yeah.
I don't
understand
that
that because the car is fiberglass from the factory.
Because, when
And
you
then
look at
they
classes,
allow like a Lexan windshield and like rear. So like, what is actually all steel, all glass?
I don't know. It doesn't make any
Like
sense.
all
to me.
fiberglass? Is that what it is? Like,
because in that same conversation of classes, then all steel all glass kind of pops up to make it like a heavier class, but then
Yeah.
you start pushing the rules enough until you see a blown Hemi Camaro.
in a fourth gen.
I just
Camaro.
feel like it's in the name, dude. It's all steel, all glass. Like you should not have any fiberglass and all glass. It's in the name.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? It starts like that. It should be all steel, all glass.
Yeah, and then
we'll give an
somebody
exception
cries
for a
and then-
hood.
yeah.
We'll give an exception for this. Oh, well, this body, came fiberglass. Well, then it shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
Fourth gen.
Yeah, if you have a Corvette or a Camaro,
Yeah.
you should not be in all steel, all glass. It's a fiberglass car.
yes, fourth gens usually get that the windshield rule because our cowls suck.
Yeah.
We
Well, that's
kind
your
of
problem,
usually
though.
get
Yeah.
that.
You got to deal with that, though.
Yeah.
Don't
you pick
run.
that chassis.
I mean, it shouldn't even be in all steel, all glass to begin with. It's some steel, mostly fiberglass.
It's
so-
all OEM, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. It's not OEM glass though. It's all
Yeah.
steel, all glass. so-
Yes.
It's OEM fiberglass.
Yeah.
That Camaro was just like it was next level extreme on that class. I couldn't.
But here's the thing, right? So, like, you look at a fourth gen, it's really not that light,
No, they
So-
can be light.
But here's the thing: it's fiberglass from the factory. So who's to say you don't just replace that fiberglass with
Lighter
lightweight,
fiberglass.
like
Yeah,
race
carbon
stuff,
fiber.
Yeah, it's composite, just
Yeah.
like it was from the factory.
My front fenders are plastic. They're not even fiberglass. They're like Rubbermaid, where you push them in and they pop back out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you can do all that to a fourth gen, and it's still heavier than your typical Fox body.
Yeah.
So you kind of
Yeah,
It's almost just needs like a how close is it to factory weight?
Yeah, it's all about getting people to show up to race too. Like you can start a class, and if only 2 people show up,
really,
it's
I don't think
useless. So
the no time class.
you got to
like,
open it up a little bit to get a full class of cars to race each other. So I
Even
get
RVW
it, but still.
only had 11 cars this.
which is actually
weekend.
comeback.
That's pretty big for
RVW,
Comeback,
RVW.
yeah.
That class is dead.
I
It
feel
might,
like
it might, make
It
a
might be
comeback.
coming back.
It
It
might,
died.
yeah.
It may
Yeah.
be
I would like to
reviving
see
a
it,
little
but-
bit. But yeah, they are impressive. But I feel like a lot of people moved over to Pro 275 because it was more competitive and
well, there's a lot of pro mods that could run RVW,
yeah.
and if
But-
there's $50,000 to win per race,
They'll show up.
You know what I would like to
they
see?
would show up.
is like they do the World Series of Pro Mod. If they did like Pro Mod versus RVW cars.
Yeah, like actually
You'd
line
have
them
to have
up.
2 lanes.
Yeah, like one lane slick,
Yeah.
one lane radial, and then make that race.
They do that at Bradenton every week anyway.
You can do 10,
Yeah.
for testing, yeah.
Yeah, for testing,
But
they do
they
one
did-
lane is...
what was it, Outlaw 10.5 at the last one? You could do like LDR versus Outlaw 10.5, RVW versus Pro Mod.
Is LDR,
Super Street versus Ultra Street, something like that.
I think Outlaw 10.5
or Street
is,
Fighter is the PDRI class.
Yeah.
Outlaw 10.5 is closer to Pro 275, I think. Maybe.
Nah, it'd be more LDR.
That Outlaw 10.5 is pretty badass.
I like watching that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I like small tires, whether they're floppy or radials. Like I like small tires.
The way that they use the wheelie bars is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm not a wheelie bar guy, but being on the wheelie bars for the full 8th mile
Yeah.
rip is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know who the guy that took flight one was, but that one was he rode it all the way down, and then it comes off the ground, parachute
Yep.
blossoms, and just
Yeah.
sets him back down on all fours.
Yeah, Lance with the red Nova.
Chevy
red.
Nova,
Yeah. That thing was badass.
Yeah.
And every time he couldn't.
Yeah, couldn't not do that.
They do a weight bias when they tech you after every pass. You have to have a certain amount of weight bias.
Really?
So
They
you
have, like-
can't put too much on the nose, or else your weight bias is off.
I didn't know that was
I
a
didn't
thing.
know that,
Yeah,
That's a
pretty cool.
crazy rule to try to.
It's
Yeah, I
hard to
didn't
enforce,
figure
I guess.
out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah,
That makes it so
How does that
complicated. You have to be like 50 on the nose.
Yeah, but aren't
only.
the scales just like a normal scale?
No, they run like actual
have-
4-corner scales.
I don't.
wow.
I wasn't there to see it, so I don't know. But how does that work?
That's what he was explaining
You
to
can't
me.
have the bias to keep the nose down. How does that work?
You have to figure it
We
out.
need to ask John Sears about this.
That's his move, I guess. He has to start doing weight biases. They might do it to you guys if you're not careful.
Our weight bias in the Camaro is a lot less than what people would probably think it is.
Is there a lot of people joining Ultra Street still? Because I feel like once the rules become so convoluted, you start to ruin new people into the class.
I don't necessarily know that it's
Because
the
now you've been running it
rules.
for 3 years, Ultra Street?
I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
wow.
there's new people coming into Ultra Street that often. There's a lot of people that haven't raced in a while coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the same car coming back.
I wouldn't
or
say
new
it's
car.
a rule set.
Yeah,
it's
new cars.
It's
sometimes.
I mean, per rule set though. I mean, you got to spend money to be competitive. If you want to be competitive,
Yeah.
it's going to cost you money, a lot of money, because to go 440s at the
At
weights,
the weight, yeah.
you just there's no way around it. You either really got to know what you're doing or spend a lot of money and
Try
hope you
some
figure
shit.
it out.
And you got to test. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
really.
Well, some people would test.
Yeah, you guys don't quite test
Not
enough.
as much as I'd like to now, but I mean, we figured some stuff out.
Well, your boy James kind of screwed you a little bit for this weekend.
Oh,
Leading
yeah.
in points, and then the guy goes on a cruise.
You're allowed to drop one race though for the
I'm gonna
season.
blame his wife on this one.
Everybody has to drop one race actually for the season.
Yeah, but we're gonna miss more than one race. We can just kiss the points goodbye because we're gonna miss this one, and then I think Carolina is our next race, and then there's another Alabama race that is the same weekend as the New England 9000. So I imagine he's not going to be able to make that one also.
Yeah, that might be a tough squeeze to make that.
So we're just gonna have to kiss the points goodbye.
That sucks to go in leading, and now it's like, because you guys are leading right now after one race.
Yeah, we were after Georgia. We were still in first place.
Yeah.
But at this weekend, I mean, you make a couple rounds.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna lose. If the dude behind us wins one round of racing, he's gonna be right where we're at. So
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to probably push you down. It's hard to keep up with points if you just don't show up.
yeah, and then if you don't win him out, I mean, you gotta do well every time. Like maybe if we drop 2 and win the rest of them, we might be able to be up there a little bit, but I don't.
How did that car get more competitive since last year? Because was it just you guys figuring stuff out?
Yeah.
Because last year it was like middle of the pack, and now it kind of went
lot of
front
it's-
runner.
He made
Yeah.
a great accident.
Oh, I made a happy little accident, but also I've been working on chassis and suspension stuff on that car, just trying to get it like I'm not trying to hammer it every time. I'm trying to figure the suspension out and try to get it consistently where I know it's not going to wheelie. I have trust in the car that I can do what I want to do and not have to worry about going on the bumper or something stupid. But US Street Nats, I had figured some of that stuff out, and we struggled a little bit US Street Nats because we were having issues with stuff breaking and just weird stuff. So we had breaking up issues, and we ended up finding spark plugs or coils or wires or something. I don't know. We changed a bunch of stuff. But then once we got to a point where, okay, we're going fast, the air swung really well, and I had made changed to kind of pull some timing out of it. Well, lack of sleep, I pulled timing from the wrong place and actually put timing in the motor. And I was always told, hey, don't go above this number because it'll burn up. I'm like, all right, whatever. So it was fast through the middle. So I pulled the log up and I'm like, why is there so much timing through the middle? This is weird, but it liked it. I was like, all right. So I put some more in it, a little more in it, and that's where we picked up big in the middle, just in the middle of the track. And having the chassis sorted like I had been doing, I was able to hit it with power early. And we went from a PB of a 49 to going out and going to 44, which at the time I thought it was a 49. That's all I was shooting for. And there was a beat. They did the new signs, and the light poles are kind of in the way. So I was standing. It was a 4.4. I figured it was a 9. It was blocked. I couldn't see it. And I looked around, and I was like, does that say 44? It's like a 44 with a 5 or something like that. And I was like, Jesus.
It's crazy. You got to start thinking about those numbers like that. Like,
it's
I'm used to thinking like,
what the air is. What tune-up you're putting it, and he knows when it's going to go, like, right there.
But when you start thinking about, like, the third number like that, that's when
that it matters like that. Yeah.
That's where it's, like, real expensive, too.
Oh, yeah. And you get on the, like, we went, when we were in Georgia, it was first or second round, we ended up running Dave Pearson, who used to drive Little Evil back in X275 days. He actually bought, what's his face's old Ultra car?
The black...
No, the green one.
Oh.
I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, no, I can't remember.
It's Bill something. He used to run Ultra here.
Bill Gregan.
Bill Gregan's old car.
Yeah,
anyway,
that car.
That guy went a 53. We went a 46. And if you look at the video, I mean, it's a car, half a car. It's not just because a little bit on the tree.
All those races could be one on the tree.
It's super tight class.
The field is.
A 46 to a 53. I mean, it seems like a distance, but it's really, when you're going that fast, it's not much.
Yeah, I watched James get treed one time. It was just a triple O to like an 08, and it was a huge difference on that deal.
Yeah,
and that's how John Sears wants those races to be.
Tight. His rule sets, people complain a lot, and
it's great though.
I would say Ultra Street is
look
probably
how close these classes are right now.
All of them across the board,
all packed so tight. The rules are working.
Yeah. All the rule sets are great. Everybody complains about it, but I think they just need something to complain about.
That's what the rules are there for, to complain about.
You just got to raise
he takes that all on his shoulders pretty well.
To be him, like, I wouldn't want his job.
No.
Everybody's always mad at you for something.
Yeah, somebody's always mad, and he went from being a racer to now just policing all the racers. So it was kind of a tough situation to fall into.
John Sears needs like a hug and a round of applause for having that job, because...
Yeah, you were at World Cup dealing with that.
Oh yeah,
my God, checking people's turbos and stuff, like on all those cars. Like, it's one thing on the Ultra Street cars where it's like they all kind of are pretty easy at teching, but then when you tech these cars that have never been through like an Ultra Street tech, it's a different world.
And everybody, I mean, I came to find out pretty quickly that class racing is who can pretty much cheat the most and get away with it. I mean, that's your gray area racing is pretty much everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then you're behind the ball. As long as you fit the rules, like this is what the rules say, I fit them. But it's a lot of gray area stuff.
Well, that's why new rules get made every year.
Yeah.
That's why there's revisions every year. Even mid-season. I guess the rules are you can make rule revisions from race to race.
Yeah, right? it's racer, director or tech specific. Like you roll through something, he doesn't like it. If it's not in the rules, he can basically say no.
Because it's interesting, because like you would think, okay, these are the rules for the year. If I fit it for the year. But you can win a race and get weight put on you before the next race.
It's not a typical thing that they would do something like that, obviously, because you irritate a lot of people. But yes, you can do something like that. One of the weird ones from this year was they made us a rule for the nitrous cars. They couldn't have brass jets anymore, which was that's a weird rule, but okay. But they didn't. A lot of them, like if we were just depending on what kind of nitrous nozzle you had, you couldn't fit a stainless jet. They had to be made. So like that car, we had to have them made, and nobody's making them.
Stainless jet,
the first set shows up and they look horrible. So you're like, well, I'm not putting those in. And then we got like 2 or 3 more sets, and the one set none of them pinned the same. They were all off. So I'm like, I'm not putting those in. So I had put just the closest, the ones that were all as consistent as could be in the car, which I don't know if they flow the same as the brass jets we had in it. So
I
we're
was
gonna
going
end
to
up.
say somebody would want to flow test all that.
I wanted to flow the car beforehand, but we took the car to tech. He made us do it right there. So and they paint marked the thing. So I'm like, all right, well, we're already running behind because we had missed a day of qualifying. So we ran the car and it went fast. I'm like, all right, we'll leave it. Everything looks good. We'll just leave it alone. But I think they do flow a little bit less than what we had in there.
And the concept was brass jets start to wear out over time and open up, maybe?
I mean, they're more.
Or
I think the concept
temperature
is-
swing
is-
they change.
They're easily
They're
modified.
easier to modify. I think
Yeah.
was their concept there.
I figured it was because maybe temperature change.
I don't know the whole
Maybe,
reason.
that could be.
I mean, this
I don't
is
know
just,
that. Yeah.
I didn't ask. This is just my thought, is they're easily modified. You can modify the jet. It'll still pin right, which,
Yeah.
whatever. If it pins, it pins. But now we have a stainless jet that we're running a 46. We can run a 48 jet. So I would like next outing, we're going to put a 48 jet in it. See
Oh, so you're
a little
even
bit.
not jetted all
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah,
Other
no,
than
we were
where it
running
can be.
46
sizes.
because we thought initially the motor was, I was like, dude, this thing's already super sensitive. Like, we got to put more to it. I don't want to be riding the hairy edge. Now I know not the case. We can throw a lot more at it and we'll be okay.
Yeah, because you've already had to put pistons in that.
We put a piston in it one time, and that was because a rocker arm broke.
Oh,
So James, we were up in Georgia. He took the car out to test it at Bradenton for some reason. And what was happening in the burnout, there was a burnout button. It was tied to the line lock. As soon as you let go of it, the RPMs would sling up real fast and snap a rocker arm off. So that's what had happened. He didn't notice it. Rolls in because he was by himself. Rolls in, makes a hit. It sucked in a bunch of fuel into that cylinder and lifted the ring line right off of it.
yeah. I feel like I've seen comments about the burnout mode. Like, why does it sound so weird? Why is
Yeah,
it?
so
Like,
I took the line lock off out of it and just hold the button down because that thing, the way the throttle body is on that thing, it's so hard to modulate it. It wants to just zing up to 8,000 RPM immediately, and valve train being unloaded like that and a burnout is the first
That's why I
easiest
kept
way to
on
kill
breaking
it.
the intake rocker,
Yeah.
not the exhaust rocker.
Yeah. So now it's got steel rockers on it too instead of aluminum.
I should have a burnout mode, but I just kind of try not
I
to
don't have
get
a burnout
too
mode in
high.
my
I don't
car
think
either,
Coyotes or 2Js care if you go to 12,000 RPM in the burnout because I see it all the time.
Well, a lot of induction customers have burnout modes, and there's the chance that they stage the car in burnout mode. If you give anybody too many
Yeah.
steps
to
do.
I see that with a lot of those. Like they're waiting for the nitrous, or they're trying to do a burnout, and the nitrous isn't coming on because the motor's not hot enough or something.
Yep.
So you got something going on.
Yeah, I've had that where my O2 sensor takes 10 seconds to heat up and it's not happy. So like, TX2K, somebody's like fire up the car and like rushing me in,
Yeah.
and like I think I was in the beams at like 9 seconds and it takes like 10. It was like
Oh,
if I had waited like one more second, it would have been fine. But I've
Yeah, it's just stuff with your program that you got to know. You get it hot, get it heated up, or turn that safety off. I'm not a big
We turn the safety off.
See, you got to get a rhythm going, but
Yeah.
the problem with that is if you are grudge racing it, someone could throw a monkey wrench right into that rhythm and then take you all out of.
Yeah, if you got too many steps or if something gets you
Yeah.
flustered, you're gonna mess up. I'm not a big safeties are cool and all, but get them out of the way.
Safeties in class racing will end your weekend
Yeah,
pretty
just-
quick.
that happened to us last year at Lights Out with the nitrous timer timed out.
Oh, yeah.
and he's going down on motor, and this is the slowest pass in Ultra Street
You
history.
both,
yeah,
So both cars had the same
Yeah.
issue.
Yep.
And his nitrous timer didn't do that.
That or his shut off sooner, so it was still yanking a bunch of timing in the Holly. So if he'd have reached up and turned it off, which I don't know if he did, I don't remember exactly the sequence of events, but yeah, it was a
Yeah,
bummer
it's like
there.
a 18 second pass
Yeah.
or something like that.
That race ate me up for like a month because I knew, like, I was standing on the track and I knew I should do a couple different things, but the guy was fast, so I didn't want to kill it too much, and it was
Yeah, it was a hot track that day.
it
I
was
remember.
bad. Yeah, everybody was knocking the tire off, and I knew it was going to happen, but there's a couple other things I could have done to make it go, and
That was in the final, right?
yeah, it was a final.
That's always the tough thing about any race at SGMP with radials is
Daytime racing, yeah.
Yeah.
it seems like it's particularly bad at SGMP.
The last race we just did up there, the track was phenomenal the
Yeah.
whole weekend. We had to turn it down a little bit in the semis because it got a little bit gooey, and I didn't want to spin because the guy we were racing had horrible lights the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to just knock the tire off. I knew he had us covered. I knew if we got through him, we would win. That's all. I was like, we have to get through him, but I just didn't see it taking it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome track. I don't think it's them with the prep. I think it's just the way that the track gets sun throughout the day, and they're just unable to keep it from getting gooey a lot.
Yeah,
of
the
time.
way the sun. That's the other thing too, is where the tower sits too. Depending on how where the sun's at during the day, one lane gets shade before the other. So that lane will be a little bit tighter than the other lane. So yeah.
Do you guys test the track temp in your data logs?
No, I don't look at it. I feel it. It's all a feel thing to me.
Well, some guys have like every sensor and every tire temperature.
That'll get you in
and
trouble
every-
sometimes. Though.
Yeah, that one
You
doesn't.
start second guessing yourself looking at all the numbers.
You got your weather station.
Well, yeah, you
up.
can. Yeah, yeah. Onboard weather is kind of cool. I look at weather every run, and then after every run, I log it with each slip, kind of where we're at, what the weather was like, water grains, and all that stuff.
Well, nitrous is more particular about that, right? Than like a
Yeah.
turbo
Water
car.
range are
Well,
a big
I mean,
factor.
it depends on which way we're talking. I mean, you got heavy water grains, it's more nitrous friendly. Than lower water grains, which is more boost friendly, which the barometer has a lot to do with that with the boosted cars also.
I feel like aren't you a nitrous guy at heart?
Yeah,
He's a carburetor.
he's a nitrous guy at heart too. Don't let him.
Oh, I know. I love all
Yeah.
of it. I choose turbos because they're easier on my
Yeah.
bank account.
Yeah, it's nice not filling up bottles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if like the
Especially
cost,
right now.
The
just
oxygen out-
going to do it.
Alcohol
It's so expensive right
and
now.
the air outside is free.
Yeah.
So alcohol's cheap and the air is free. And they're just easier on the motor parts in general.
What fuel do you guys have to run with nitrous stuff? Because you don't run methanol, right?
C25.
It doesn't like
we
methanol.
run C25 in the Camaro.
C23 for some stuff, but C25.
It really
is
depends on what your setup is, how much nitrous you're spraying. I mean, you can over octane an engine and everything like that. So you want to pick your fuel depending on how much nitrous and realistically what are you doing with the car. So C25 is what we run in Ultra because we're spraying a lot of nitrous. We got a lot of compression.
Have you guys thought about switching that car to a different class? Like getting out of Ultra and going to like...
I mean, they're all out of hand.
Where else would it really
I feel like
fit?
it could be modified to...
I think,
I don't think
honestly,
you can get enough weight out of it to go X racing.
You don't think
Small
so?
block nitrous.
oh,
and
no,
X,
I think we'd be
you couldn't get that much weight out of it.
small block nitrous in X. No,
Yeah.
there's weight to be taken out of it, but no, I wouldn't. If we were going to go up to X, I would put a Pro Charger on that thing.
It's kind of pinned into that class then.
Yeah, through the way it is.
Yeah.
Like we can't put boost to it in that class because it has a canted valve head on it. It's got a Massimo's head on it, so we can't run boost with that head in that class. We'd have to go to like a CID oval port or something like that.
It had
But-
to be an inline head.
Yeah, inline head, period. But that's probably one of the best right now out there is a CID oval port. But yeah, if we wanted to go to X, we could put a Pro Charger on it. There is a car that Jason Hickle owns called, I think it's called Nemesis. It's a yellow.
Yeah, it's Nemesis.
Yeah, yellow New Edge Mustang. They run X.
Oh, yeah,
and it's
with
a
the,
small block
Ford-
nitrous.
With the...
No, that one's
Not
different.
that one?
No.
Okay.
Similar, same
You know, the
same body
Zunis,
style. Yeah, I know what you're
they're
talking about.
Four out
yeah.
the side and like a cluster.
Yeah, they just went. I just saw a slip yesterday. They went 997 to the 60 foot.
Damn.
Small block nitrous and X275. And LS. It's a LS base, has a Moses head on it also. It's a bigger cubic inch motor
Yeah.
than what we have.
They're not
but
jet limited either.
Yeah, they got a lot
run
more
whatever
jet.
they want.
That's badass running that in a freaking...
In a small
Yeah, I
block
don't-
nitrous setup, though,
Yeah,
that'll get me in trouble. I know
Four
that.
teens in the 8th mile in class.
on a
in
radial
class
tire
trim.
like that. That's so sick. Even like watching the Shadow now, what it's doing on a radial
yeah.
tire is
Yeah, he just went.
insane.
350.
He went 8 something, 0.89.
Oh, yeah.
In the
I
second-
forget what it was. Yeah,
Like 887 short or something.
something like that. Yeah, I was like, Jesus, that's on a 315, but still.
Not to say the track, but I would love to see it replicated at a different track. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it just, because every
yeah.
track is different. So
Yeah.
every timing system's got a little
What was the deal
variation.
with steel?
So-
there was like some sort of deal with steel.
I heard it's downhill.
I heard it was uphill.
No, it's not downhill. But
There's
I
something to do
thought
with the
something
water.
about a mile an hour cone is a little weird. That's what I heard.
Oh, I
Interesting.
don't know.
Well,
I know the
this-
track's a little weird, but
There
Because
is
this
like a
past weekend
water-
at TX2K, everybody in the left lane was going red. Almost like
are we
every red
talking
light.
about the GTR class?
No,
There was a
no.
lot of red lights.
Wait,
I
It
remember
was just
seeing
red
it.
lights
Yeah.
across
Red
the
lighted.
board.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that was they red lighted.
They red lighted.
Red light.
He red lighted it away. That's what I kept hearing.
There was quite a bit in the left lane, and I was
Were you
talking. I wasn't there, but I was talking to Snot Rocket guys, and they were like, "We had to run every pass out because we needed lane choice."
Oh, they wanted to be in the right lane.
They were like, "We
right.
weren't
Yeah.
gonna risk it
Yeah.
in the left lane."
Something weird going on there.
Yeah,
the rollout was a little weird or something.
something was going on there because they had to run.
Well,
one race.
Even the 6-shift final, what's his face with the S10 went 001 red in the right lane.
Yeah, that's a
Which
bad deal,
with
too.
the stick shift car, he let go. He let that clutch out before. it was yellow.
Yeah.
Getting double O's anything in a stick shift car is
Yeah.
not an easy task at all.
Yeah.
Once they put radials on those stick shift cars, they just boomed.
Yeah.
They were all so
Radials
reluctant.
and slipper clutches, and that
Slipper
was
clutch.
yeah. When Garrett first started doing, he was on a slick. He was slipping the clutch, and then it started. It's crazy how fast that class progressed.
Yeah, it's
What
kind
is
of
that? Is that a
stupid
twin
now.
disc deal or what is it?
It's a single disc for
Really?
what I remember.
Yeah, it's not like anything super crazy.
Yeah,
in the-
I remember looking at the first slipper clutch they had, and I was like, "That's it? Like that's all you guys are okay? All right."
like 2,000 horsepower now out of
Yeah.
that thing. But it's basically just a pro stock clutch concept.
yeah, I think the first one they used was like Black Magic or something like that.
It was just a pro stock team made a clutch
Yeah.
that went into a T56. Was kind of the concept, and then you add weights to it. That seems too tedious for me. I'm good on that.
Yeah, I don't.
Having your tackle box of weights,
That's a whole nother learning curve.
you
Yeah.
gotta start weighing them after every pass.
It's just like anything else, though. When you start racing it, you're gonna learn it. You're gonna get good at it. You're gonna be like, okay, this is what we need to do. I mean, it's same thing with anything else.
the trans in McFlurry's funny because
No
That
Lenko.
Lenko.
yeah.
The Bruno drive.
What was
pretty
your
cool.
thoughts on that?
I think it's pretty cool.
I would pull it out and put a Turbo 400 in it, but it's definitely a cool factor, and it sounds amazing coming down the track. Pods might be cool too, where you don't actually have to pull the lever; you can just shift it. But
I will play devil's advocate. Any coyote at high RPM going down the
That is
track
true.
sounds pretty
Yeah,
wild.
that is true.
I think it's way cooler that you got to pull it.
Watching 10,000 RPM side by side
Yeah.
going down the track is
Yeah, Brett and Lund's race, there was a shot from the big end, and I was like, dude, that sounds amazing.
like peaking out at like almost 11,000 RPM is gonna
anything
sound
at
cool.
11,000 RPM sounds cool. I don't care what it is.
Especially a V8
Yeah, especially a V8.
singing at 11,000 RPM going through what they both sounded like going through 5 gears each. That's a great sound.
Yeah, Turbo 400 with lockup on that car would definitely make it a little faster.
Yeah, and it's probably about the same cost for that Lenko.
Yeah, I don't know what that
Those
thing
Lenkos are
costs.
expensive.
I think you can
yeah.
do lockup with the Lenko, though. I don't. Maybe
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Bruno drive, so it's like a
Yeah.
converter.
You could probably do lockup with that thing.
That poor Godzilla never had a chance.
No.
That thing's pretty impressive. I was pretty impressed with it.
yeah.
For like a F250,
Yeah.
they're really good.
I mean,
I don't. We'll see. There's some other people doing it now, but we'll see. I
call it the
don't
big
see the
block
cylinder
LT
heads
is what I call
staying down for big power stuff, but we'll see. Somebody will figure it out.
cylinder head seal is the issue.
Yeah, for sure.
It is weird though because the dual overhead cam is so good to be like, we're actually gonna now sell push rod stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was a
Well-
little weird too.
I don't,
But
I
they
don't,
wouldn't-
I don't know
yeah.
why Ford did it, except for probably cost effectiveness.
I mean, it's
And
yeah.
for an NA piece, like you can build
Engineering
a pretty
simplicity.
nasty 7.3. I feel like you could build pretty.
Oh
good
yeah,
motor.
it's got like a 4.630 bore space. So, I mean,
Yeah, but
you can make a pretty big motor out of one of them.
NA racing is tough.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
also expensive too.
I'm
It
not
doesn't
saying-
sound fun either.
Yeah,
I'd really prefer boost.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like people like the NA stuff. All right, like it's kind of a interesting, like cool, like victory when you do it once, and then it's
Yeah.
like, all right, you got turbos for it now.
yeah,
Yeah.
Especially when you get to that point of like all out NA racing, it gets expensive, and then you're gonna talk about valve train stuff.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where you really.
That's
I mean,
where it
you're
is.
doing valve springs all the time on the thing.
Here's the thing though, that Godzilla, it's a 60 millimeter cam core from the factory.
Yeah,
Well, World Cup has that NA class where they have nitro Hondas in there too,
Yeah.
and those things.
Nitro Hondas, man.
yeah.
Them things must come apart good.
Yeah,
I think they actually stay put together pretty good. But
Really?
yeah, that
yeah, because they're NA, so
Yeah.
they're not.
Yeah,
As,
I
I
guess.
guess they're not as hard on them. But then they have like the NMCA Mustangs in there that are NA too,
just
and they like
on the chip.
yep,
yeah.
they hit them on the bumper, and then they just kind of like.
The weird thing about nitro normally is like it likes a lot of load. It doesn't really like RPM. Like if you look at naturally aspirated nitro like dragsters, they like 6,800 RPM.
Are they limited though?
They're not limited.
No.
That's where they're happy.
I don't know much about nitro.
Yeah, you've had your feet dipped in it just a little bit, right?
I got lucky
In a street car.
Yeah,
We should probably start experimenting with nitro.
It's hard to
I
burn
don't
from what
really-
I've seen. All the tests of like
I don't know
trying to
how
burn it.
we did not explode that Silverado. I really don't. Just
Did it?
startup, like watching some of the stuff with nitro. Like they start them on alcohol, then they switch them to nitro. We were starting that thing on God knows how much percent of nitro.
Yeah.
They're only allowed to use like 90%, I think, in
Yeah.
most nitro
I don't.
classes.
I have no idea what the mixture on that thing is. We had gotten it just right on that Silverado, and it just worked. And
That was like 5 seconds of pouring to
Yeah.
10 seconds of pouring.
I just kind of like,
playing
real
with fuel stuff.
professional.
I'm like, all right, the fueling seems good. We'll just start rolling some timing. And the amount of timing that thing took was insane.
Yeah.
What kind of power did it make? It was like
it pretty
440
or something. It was a stock 5.3. Dude. It made like mid 400s at the
That's
tire
serious.
in second gear, like in a Silverado
It'd be pretty cool to see like
with cats.
like a
All right, so
true
give
NA.
people an idea. It would normally make like 280.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did it.
280.
We did it. I
In
forget what it was on
second
pump
gear
gas, but yeah,
unlocked.
with that truck on methanol only made 300 wheel, and then we started mixing nitro in, and it made I want to say almost 500. I think it was like 470 or something like that.
They're doing a Nitro versus the World at the reunion.
I heard something
Race.
about that. Is that for Hondas or what
It's
is that?
a Honda class, but there's some 6-cylinders that fit, and a bunch of front wheel drive fit. It's kind of a weird class of like
That'll make
what
it a very
fits
long
in.
race.
Some Nitro Hondas.
Anything front wheel drive extends your racing day.
There's 2 front wheel drive classes too, so
That's great.
maybe we can petition for them to race on Saturday.
Yeah,
and we
they
race
get their
on
own
Sunday.
day. Yeah.
It's like roll racing at TX2K.
I feel
Can
like
you
they're
guys
getting-
race on Monday.
Yeah, I feel like they're getting better though, because it used to be like, oh great, front wheel drive class, they're just gonna break every car, and it was like that for a while. Now I feel like they're getting a little bit better, but it's still like those things were not meant to do what they're doing.
They've progressed a lot.
Yeah.
And they're really impressive now.
They make
a lot of them.
stupid power out of them little motors.
But then they all seem like they do some things that are like, it almost seems like it developed not alongside other drag racing where like,
Yeah,
they didn't look at like pro mods and like how we kind of look at like other cars and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
you could just do this on a street car. They almost kind of were like, no, we develop on our own.
Yeah, they're
and
their
had to
own
go through their
thing,
own
yeah.
growing pains instead of like steal information from other classes.
Are these people that are making like 2,000 horsepower with these Honda motors? Are they stock blocks?
A lot of them are billet.
yeah, they're built.
Some are
from what I
filled.
understand. I don't know a lot about the Honda
Making
game.
like 500 horsepower per hole is insanity. For
I mean, mine's
Something like that.
1,500 horsepower on a 6-cylinder, so not
Yeah.
quite as much. Maybe 1,600,
yeah,
1,700.
anytime even you get 250, 300 horsepower pole hole, you're starting to.
And then
do something.
per liter.
Yeah, what are you, a 3.5 liter?
I'm 3 liter.
3 liter.
Yeah, they're like 2,
yeah,
making that much power.
Yeah, that one girl just went like 190 something at TX2K.
Yeah, almost 200, 198. I think it was because the car kind of was slow on the starting line, so it was able to just like
Mile an hour.
just mile an hour like crazy. Just
That's the
ton
tricky
of
thing I
load.
feel like with them things, because you have to control how much it spins. It needs to spin just enough to get you pulling.
and then
and
on
then
D-cell I heard is like
that's
terrifying.
yeah. No.
Well, they get 3 passes out of a tire, out of a set of
I
front
heard that,
tires.
yeah, that's
because they
insane.
chunk them.
Yeah.
They just like
Yeah.
chuck the tires off. If I got 3 passes out of a set of radials, I'd be
Dude.
pissed.
Yeah.
I get like a year and a
That is
half out. Of
Yeah.
expensive. That is an expensive deal.
Yeah, that's like pro 275 guys switching tires.
They
I've
that
heard
much.
that.
probably kill the sidewall too, just
I
on
was gonna say, I've
deceleration.
heard that with a lot
yeah.
of the no prep and slick tire guys, that they don't get that many passes out of theirs either. We're talking 10, 12 hits depending on power level. And
Yeah.
that's it. You need a new set
Well,
of tires.
the no prep guys too. You got to think about what they're doing. If they're pouring a puddle, they're using VHT and MEK and breaking down the tire.
Yeah, I know.
that's
Well,
why
how
they're
much
not
weight's on the
lasting.
back
True that,
versus
yeah.
the front. Same with the Hondas. They put 80% nose weight.
yeah,
and the no prep
them
guys-
things roll up already wrinkling the tire.
Yeah.
And the no prep guys are probably putting, 70% weight
If they
in the
can
back
get it,
if
I'm
they
sure
can
they
try
would.
to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
if
that
they can
much.
get it.
Well, some of them try to. They put like
Yeah.
anything they can put back there.
I've never attempted no prep really, so I don't know. I know what we've tried to do with weight and putting it in the back and getting stuff to work, but I don't know what.
We race at Showtime, so I mean, we know prep race.
Well, they did that no prep, and
Low
yeah.
one car crashed, and they were like, "We're shutting it down."
Yeah,
Yoho was like,
as for insurance purposes, I figured so that race had been like being like built up, and I was like, oh, there's gonna be a lot of cars there. I think Billy the Kid from Street Racing Channel was there and everything.
Yeah.
and I was like, well, the
he
owner
won the
of
deal.
the owner of the track is a goof. We'll just go with that. And I knew he would figure out some way to screw that up, and he did.
yeah, it was like, oh, cool, something big at Showtime, like.
I love
Yeah.
Showtime, dude. That's such a cool track.
And then
Anytime
even
something-
Immokalee did it too.
Yeah.
They had like a
Yep.
series where it was Immokalee,
Yeah.
Showtime, and Orlando.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then Yoho freaking kicked him out, dude.
Dude, he's a
Whatever.
worst track owner ever for sure. Like his
From
track
an
will never do
entertainment
anything
side.
From
because
entertainment side?
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
He's the best.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
His live feeds, dude.
I don't go race there, so
You gotta
from
check
the
him out.
entertainment side, it's enjoyable.
they're yeah. So you got some good people at that track, but dude, that guy's a goof.
it could be such a cool backwoods no prep track
really
though.
cool.
If he would just get out of the way, just own the track and get out of the way.
Let it happen.
That's it.
Let a promoter come
way.
in there and really make some stuff happen there.
Like Troy Jr. He does some stuff there, and usually when he does his thing there, people show up. But that guy gets
Troy doesn't do it there anymore. He used to battle the bay there.
He was doing stuff there until, like I said, the guy got in his own way, and now
It's weird because you would think James would want to do no prep. Like I know he doesn't care
fast.
for it, but he seems like the guy.
fast.
Like he seems like he
just
would
likes
want
racing.
to.
Period. I don't think it really matters what surface it's on, but yeah, he would put me into a situation like, hey, make this thing go down here, and I'm like, dude, no.
Like because we have in Florida we have no time with a lot of prep.
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the country has no time, no prep.
Yeah.
It feels like
We are the radial race.
You got to really set a car up to do stuff like that. Like all his stuff is set up to go down a super tight track, and the 240 is sketchy enough. That thing doesn't need to be on no prep. He wanted to do it with the Nova because it wanted to wheelie all the time. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I know, but it's kind of like a nice car. You don't really want to mess that up. So
yeah, his dad would kill him if he was doing that with the Nova.
that thing's just a wheelie machine. So
Yeah.
he's doing some things here soon that
I guess Garrett is bringing no prep to Bradenton.
dude, like the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Let's just say this guy has been talking about four-wheel
Yeah.
drive trucks for the past 2 days.
After watching
Yeah. After that
Midnight.
all-wheel drive shootout, I was ate up.
dude, Midnight Performance's truck is sick, and the on the gas guys.
The on the gas truck was my favorite. The
I
cat
figured,
eye deal,
yeah.
because I'm a truck guy.
Cat eye,
Yep.
Chevy, that purple on there.
Yeah.
I've been on Facebook Marketplace looking for a Dana 60 front for him. and
Yeah.
stuff.
Is that what they run in there?
No, they run stock dips.
I was
That was
gonna
a
say.
shot.
I looked
Chris
that
there.
night. I literally went home and just started doing research on what I would need to do to convert my burnout truck over to all-wheel drive. And turns out the frames are different, and it's just going to be too much work to do it simply. So I'll leave that one alone. I'm going to see if I can't find one that's four-wheel drive.
I mean, you should probably do it. I think it would just be cool to have that truck as four-wheel drive.
Which one? Mississippi Queen?
Well, if you do that, just take the burnout truck stuff out and put it into a
Just
different
body
car.
swap 4x4 chassis.
That's what I was more thinking.
Body swap? I could do that.
Yeah, just
it's
find like
easy.
the frame, like kind of.
So I was going to.
I'd really like to stay nitrous.
I had already
'cause that'd be
ordered.
pretty cool. Four-wheel
Yeah.
drive nitrous truck.
So I have the 04 that we were doing the chassis on. That one's going to be making a comeback now also. But I had just ordered all the stuff for Mississippi Queen to make it more street drag than burnout. So controllers, I just got all that stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I kind of want to do that and then maybe build another one. But I guess we could. I mean,
How many?
I don't want to.
How many race trucks do you need?
I'm already struggling to make content. I don't want to make it take even longer. You know what I mean? So
Well,
How
I
many
figure
race trucks?
You get more race trucks, you get more content.
Well, because when I met you, you had a race truck.
right, that was the OG. That's the
Yeah.
white one.
Yeah.
So
And that truck is still MIA.
it's
Yeah.
there.
I see it every day. But
Yeah, it's there. It's hanging out in
easy
the
to walk
corner.
past, you know?
So yeah, we did the moonshine thing because it got a lot of traction. So I was like, all right, we'll just finish this out. We'll get it done. And my plan was to get that done, and then we were gonna hop back on that truck and get it done. And then I wrecked the car. So that kind of threw a wrench and stuff. And now to the point where it's been too long, where I'm like, all right, I ended up selling the chassis out of moonshine because what I wanted to do with it is just gonna be too much cutting of work, and it was just gonna make a bunch of scrap metal. So I sold the chassis to somebody that could use it, and then we'll build another one. But the truck chassis is pretty far along and closer to being done. So we're going to drag that out of the woodworks, and then we'll just pause moonshine for a second, get that truck done, get it off the chassis table, then we'll start on the car is the plan.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool to see that truck done, but I guess when you started it, the classes were also in a different location.
Oh, yeah.
Like, things were a lot
I
different.
don't even know if
racing.
that truck class that you originally built the
I
chassis
don't even know
for
if they still
exists
race.
anymore.
Yeah. That was at Middle Georgia.
They do have that truck class every now and then down here. That
That
time.
thing is
No-time
out of
truck
hand.
is very
my
fast.
budget, the way my bank account's set up,
Yeah, no-time truck
I ain't going to
is
be
very, very
competitive in that class.
Yeah.
The cars that I saw in that, I was like, who is building these trucks for this?
Yeah.
Like, how often do they run no-time truck class where
It's getting so the one dude from what
They're
I
pro
understood,
mods.
Yeah.
that blue C10 Pro Charge truck. I'm sure you saw that one.
Mm-hmm.
From what I understand, he sponsored like several events so that they could keep like, the thing going.
Okay.
From what I understand.
But then there's that red Dakota or something also.
Yeah, he runs Outlaw 10.5 with that too.
That thing's
See, I don't understand.
Nutty.
I feel like it should be a full-size truck only. You know?
that is a full size.
A
It's not a
Dakota?
Dakota. It's a Ram.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
The red
Oh,
Ram
okay.
is Chris Cadato. That's his name.
That's a serious car as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
All of them that show up for that class is surprisingly serious. You would think a truck class is like, oh, you know, like,
yeah, we actually just did the cam in the
Awesome.
orange one, Austin Stevens
The blower truck.
oh, that thing's really nice too.
He's pretty heavy.
Yeah, that thing is
He's
surprisingly
probably got a solid 1,400 pounds on a lot of other guys out there.
Well, and then there's that black one that's all-wheel drive also, right? There's a four-wheel drive.
Yeah, I
It's
can't-
a square body with a blower.
I haven't seen him do anything in a while,
In a
but
long
Yeah,
time, yeah.
it's been a bit, but that was like a actual.
I think he was trying. I think he did actually go threes with that thing.
Yeah.
right there, close to it.
That's
Maybe that's what you
sometimes
should
people.
No,
People that do
absolutely
these
not.
things, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I wonder what
fathom
front axle
why.
he's using. We need to get one of them.
I'm not doing it. Nope.
I can't fathom why people. It's like the donk racing. I'm like, it's so cool,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
I can't fathom doing it.
It's
I
funny to
agree.
watch some of the donk stuff.
Well, now
though.
you're seeing some donks roll out. They're like 25.2 chassis, like
Yeah.
sat way down on a 26-inch rim.
you
like,
see that
what
fourth
the
gen
heck?
Camaro?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the Boost Doctor or whatever
Yeah,
his
that's the
name
one
is.
I'm talking about.
That
Oh, I
thing,
haven't seen that.
It's a
one.
Trans Am, I think.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Trans Am.
Is it black? Maybe I did see it.
And it's on some like super hot boy wheels. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out again. I
Gold.
think I saw it, but I didn't really pay much mind to it.
I mean, it's a fast car, and then they just basically put donk wheels on a really fast car.
Yeah.
It'd be like just doing
There
it to
was-
Gonzo's car.
Yeah. We should do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, they make tires now for them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember watching that. There was like a dude out of Orlando or something with like a Cutlass, and the thing just stands up on the bumper. I'm like, dude, I know people that you get a regular car to go down the track. That thing's on
Right.
24s going on the bumper.
Yeah.
Watching like a donk separate.
Yeah.
It is crazy that they race those things because you wouldn't think there's a class for that.
What's crazy is they don't have like half of them don't even have cages.
No, it's no time, dude. You don't need
Yeah,
safety
As
when you don't
fast
like
as
the
they're
boards.
going, and no cage is like, dude,
If you don't like the boards, you don't need safety.
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
proven fact.
that's yeah.
You're either too fast for the amount of safety,
Yeah.
or you're too slow and you don't want to light the boards.
That's yeah.
That's why I like no time because I'm too slow and I can just tell my videos that it was the fastest pass I've ever
Yeah,
made.
new
Yo,
Personal
new
best.
PB, new
That was-
PB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Or-
pass, new PB.
Or you get like the sometime guys that are like post their record that they just did in no time, and it happens all the time. Like people will be like, "Oh, you're pointing at this person," but no, people do it all
All
over the
time,
place.
yeah.
They
I
post
saw it
like
recently.
80% of a slip.
It happens all the time.
it's like 80% of a slip. I'm like, this is no time. I thought,
Yeah.
like some classes,
it's
Like I
supposed to
could, I
be-
could put the dots together here. I'm pretty sure I knew what that thing ran.
Yeah.
You just showed me half the slip.
or they leave the top part where it says the time anyways.
Yeah.
because like every slip has
Yeah.
like 4 numbers that are actually the time, but they forget to chalk that out.
Yeah, I feel like I did the same thing. I started testing my car in no time because it wasn't competitive in X275 either. But for YouTube stuff, like people want to see the time,
Yeah.
so I'll go like. I would rather just go race and be able to show my times. I don't really care about winning. I just want to go race. Period.
think the
I just
only
love
time-
going fast.
I think the only time people care about no time stuff is if it's no prep.
I mean, they'll watch.
Well, I'm saying
stuff,
watching it on
but yeah,
YouTube,
there's
yeah.
more people want to see the times, even no time stuff. They want to know, but
Yeah, but-
that's the whole point of no time is you don't show your time.
It's for,
and if you
it
do,
was
you're
made
not
for
running
grudge
for a
races
year.
to actually
That's-
be able to, do a shootout race.
Yeah.
It makes sense for that, for the grudge racing, but like Jimmy Dale was telling me, everybody after a no time race is like, show me your draggy, like show me your draggy.
Yeah,
Like,
they,
Well, it's no prep stuff though, mainly, right?
yeah, a lot of the no prep stuff. I've
Yeah.
seen them do that. They'll share information, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it's like 580 cars.
why
too.
not just show the
Yeah.
times, dude? You know what I mean?
Just light the board.
Just light the boards.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still cool. Like just light the boards.
How about this? Just use the tree.
Yeah, use the tree and light the
Adam.
boards and just keep
If
it
you're at a
no prep.
racetrack, just use the tree.
It's like
full
the-
in
it's
support
like-
of that.
It's crazy that we've like where we got to with drag racing and like radio racing and like how fast everybody's going. And everybody's like, you know what, guys? Let's stop and go back to 1960 and we'll use no glue at all, and then we'll race.
Well, they're doing it. I
This
see
is
the
not
reason,
fun anymore.
But there is
Let's
a
start
reason
over.
behind it,
Yeah, no, it's
it's
funny to get
Make
where
it more
you
of a
got to.
tuners or
But yeah, I watched
drivers
Street
race.
Outlaws, so
Yeah.
now like
All it did was make the lower horsepower guys be competitive. Is what it did. It's
Yeah.
you have to race the surface. Which if the surface is so good, everybody's going down. I get it, but it's still funny to me that you go watch old drag racing stuff where they're smoking the tires the whole way down the track, and then we're like, no, we want to do that again. Let's go back there and do that.
Well, Beaterbaum was telling me too. He's like, I was like, does the track just get so good you're not even worried about it at the end of the night? And he's like, yeah, you could probably put a radial tire on it at
Yeah.
the last rounds and get down.
That dude's always doing impressive stuff.
Yeah, you see his front air
Been doing it
shocks?
for a long time.
I did. I noticed that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's got Holly controlled front air
Yeah.
shocks.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
tricky.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's fancy.
I've had a couple guys that want me to do stuff with. They have them on the rear. I'm like, dude, I've never messed with anything like that. I have no idea. They're like, oh, it's super simple. I'm like, why? You're asking me, bud. If it's so simple, you do it.
You just make two advanced tables that have to read the traction, and
I'm sure I
fun.
could figure it out if I had a car that had them on there. I'll figure them out. But yeah, that's crazy.
Do you guys use the Davis traction control in Gonzo's car?
We don't have any traction control
No
at all.
traction control at all.
It has Holly, like he has the stuff to do it, but I've never set it up. I tried using a little bit of traction control on James's car, and I've still got some work to do with figuring all that stuff out. But yeah, I'd rather just not use it.
Yeah, just make the car hook.
Yeah, get it out of the way.
kind of
And that's one of those
better
things too,
route.
where like it's more of a tool. Same thing with wheelie control. If we're going out testing or qualifying or something like that, I'm turning all that shit off, and we're gonna go fast. And then once you get into elimination rounds or whatever, and you know what you got, you've built yourself a tune-up, then you can use those to kind of hone it in and make sure it goes down.
Yeah, somebody was surprised that I don't have traction control on my car. I'm like, it's pretty slow. Like, it doesn't really need it.
Yeah,
and
for a
then,
5.0 car, you don't really need it. But
hey, it's been 480s, and it also
Oh, no. All right.
it doesn't have a scramble button either because
you got to have one of those.
It's all in.
I don't have anything more
have
to
anything more to
scramble.
give it.
Yeah, you don't. If you can use it, put it in the tune-up.
Yeah, like I was like, if I had more to throw at it, we would.
I got to turn James's off. I'm not going to tell him that it's off.
Just
but
disable the
Yeah, I'm just
scramble
going to turn it off.
Just give it like 1 pound of.
Yeah, he's getting nothing.
He has to like hit it incrementally.
Yeah,
for
because
like
if it's
1
not
pound.
fast enough, period, he's like it leaves. He's on it. Like like dude,
Yeah.
leave it alone.
Just let up on the button
Yeah.
for a second.
Did you go
Yeah.
to scramble? Oh yeah.
I think when he went red against me, he hit the scramble.
I don't remember.
I think when I beat him because he red lit, I think he wanted to put a gap so badly because he was frustrated that he was also on the
Yeah.
scramble.
I don't remember if he scrambled it there. I don't think he did. I don't think so. We had that thing turned out because that was a new motor and we had no testing in the thing. So
He just put it together for this weekend, right? And
it's back together.
back
yeah.
together,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was over there the other day making it run.
the 240.
Yeah.
Did he change much on it?
It's back to basically the old 5.3. We did one of our camshafts in it, and he told me he freshened things up. We'll see.
We don't know what that means.
Yeah, I was like, what does that
He's like,
mean?
yeah, it's all
it was
fresh.
definitely not
The
a
last
machine
motor
shop.
had
Like,
went
it's all
together.
fresh. I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
The last motor had went together with no machining and
He probably means fresh oil.
yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't used oil.
Yeah. Or he's on like a fresh night of sleep after he put it in.
Yeah, because it was your motor before,
No.
wasn't it? At one point.
It was
At one
his
point, I
old
did
Dart
put a
motor,
427 in that car. I had a Dart 427 in it, and then that one snapped a timing chain at FL2K a couple
Also
years
tool
ago.
up to every valve.
Well, that's why it snapped the timing chain. But
Somebody should have warned you about that. Eh?
yeah,
Yeah, I feel like LS's never snap timing chains.
no, the valves were tulipping, and then
Yeah.
we didn't.
I told him it was
Backlash.
gonna happen.
Wasn't that happening on one of the El Camino motors too? That
Yeah,
you
same
heard
valve.
Same exact valve.
of? Just
I knew that was gonna happen too.
we knew, and I was pushing it, and I knew I was pushing it, but
Yeah.
tough break.
yeah, that thing for what we were doing with it was pretty fast, but it was too much power for that car. Every time I'd turn it up a little bit, the thing would get unhappy.
Oh my gosh.
And start driving all over the place.
Yeah.
He's got the making horsepower down on the
Yeah, it just needs a chassis.
the chassis is just not there on that car. It's so short.
yeah.
Well, we'll see. Maybe the Nova will
It's.
be.
I think it's very similar to a Mustang as far as wheelbase goes, but the front suspension itself is just junk. It needs to be cut off. Like the car needs to be front halved, and either use Mustang stuff or do a strut of some sort because it's just not.
I thought that was his plan after he kind of
Well, I think we had talked about
tapped
it. Yeah,
her into
and
the
then-
wall. It seemed like a good time to do that.
well, no,
that
see,
would've
that's the
been, but-
problem. It was still repairable.
Unlike me, like
he
he's
wasn't better
totally
off if
different.
it wasn't repairable.
You should have went
So-
and cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he will put the car right back together. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my car ready to race. Where I'm like, all right, I got to take it apart. I'm gonna upgrade it, and then 2 years later, I might have a running car again. He's not. He will have a running car if he's got to do something. And that's the thing with if you get stuck doing something like that. If you can't do it yourself, you're relying on somebody else to get it done. Which he could do it, but it's just a time thing, I think, for him.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't do the front suspension.
It needs it. If that thing,
I mean, maybe he shouldn't.
he's a decent welder. I think he could do it.
Yeah, but it's a whole geometry thing as well. That's
Well,
not
yeah, you
just
could-
like making a turbo kit.
Yeah, you gotta have if you're gonna do a strut front end on that, you gotta have like jigs and stuff to make
Yeah,
it straight.
that's what I mean. Like you probably want to
Yeah.
use like because it's already been done. You might as well do it really right this time
Yeah.
and make it
Like,
perfect.
the back of the car underneath needs a little bit of tying in after looking under it.
Oh, yeah.
We won't dig too far into that, but there's a few upgrades that thing needs to have, and it could be fast and manageable, but yeah.
So what's your next racing for you then?
My next...
For you driving personally,
LS Fest,
your car.
I'm going to try to go to LS Fest, Texas with the burnout truck converted to no low prep street style.
Big no prep guy now.
Yeah, because they don't actually do it at a drag strip
Right.
there. They do it on like a road
NASCAR
course.
track,
Right,
I think.
Yeah, like
it's a
Circuit
NASCAR
of the
track.
or like a Coda or something like that.
Yeah. They just run the pit road.
Yeah. So you're gonna go out there with the burnout truck.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. I'll put it on gas and we'll spray the house down with it.
Can I ask why?
Because I'm bored. I need something to do.
There's so much racing. You're gonna haul that thing out to Texas.
Well, I'm going to get it done. I could race it here, race it there. But they have a truck class. That's why I'm like, oh, we'll go race a truck class in Texas. Trucks are big in Texas. So.
Yeah, I mean, we saw everybody here.
Oh, yeah, from midnight and on the gas and all
On
them
the
guys.
gas, yeah,
That's the only thing is, though, if they have all the all-wheel drive truck class, all-wheel drive trucks in that
they let
class,
them in the
I'm going to be
normal class.
screwed.
Yeah, but midnight won't be.
Well, they won't be with a Coyote.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't be there, so you're good.
Just gotta worry
It'll
about
be the
on
on the gas guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That truck's really cool. I like that thing. I know we already talked about it, but I just there's something
Yeah.
so cool. I wish that we had. Sometimes I wish that locally we had more like diversity in classes. We can just kind of have like radial tire racing and like the street cars. All I really fit
Yeah, there's
in.
not like much truck class. Like I tried to do a couple truck classes, but if you're doing an event, they want you to put up a bunch of money to sponsor the class, or they ask you how many cars you got. Well, it's like, dude, how do I get cars if I don't tell people it's a thing?
Yeah.
I was texting Victor. I said you should do a tailgate class at the reunion because the trucks are pretty hot right now, and like kind of like do like a minimum weight.
The other thing too with the
Tailgate.
truck thing is,
Yeah, but is it going to be a no time deal?
No, probably not.
Oh, okay.
the tough thing with the
I think
trucks
it's light
is
the boards at the reunion.
you get people
on radials
with a full size truck, and then you get people that show up with an S10. Those are two totally different deals
Yeah.
there. So the truck thing gets very tough because you're running full size trucks that weigh 5,000 pounds versus a truck that weighs 2,000 pounds if it's
Someone
modified.
shows
So-
up with an El Camino arguing with the tech guy.
Well, still
Yeah,
got a
El
tailgate.
Camino's not
That's
a
it.
truck.
It's got a tailgate.
It's not a truck though.
But if you call it a tailgate
if you
class,
call it a
is that better
tailgate
than El
class,
Camino?
Yeah.
So
It does.
It's either tailgate or truck.
Kind of has a truck chassis also. Would that Ute fit?
It's a G body, but
Would that Ute fit?
Yeah. Is
the
that a
Ute
tailgate?
is not a truck. It's a Ute.
It is a Ute.
Sir, does it have a tailgate?
I don't know what is the Ute means something. It's like utility or something.
Yeah,
I forget what it
it's,
meant.
Something like that. It's yeah, I can't remember.
I forget. I remember I looked it up one time. I was like, okay, it's a certain type of car.
They tow.
whatever it is.
They in Australia like that vehicle. They
It's kinda
tow
their
full
truck,
size
yeah.
trucks.
Yeah.
Like they'll tow anything you can imagine. Anything I would tow with my 2500. They would tow with that Ute in Australia without any question. Like we pulled up on one guy and he was towing his burnout car with his Ute the same way.
Yeah, I
It was
remember seeing it.
dragging. And the straps were completely loose. He was on like a flatbed trailer that had like it was not a car trailer.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff they do down there because they're not allowed to like drive some of the stuff they have on the street at all.
They're not,
They're
like,
super strict down there.
They're pretty much not allowed to have it.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like what they're trying to push
you
for
imagine?
here.
Could you
They're
imagine, dude?
already done there. Yeah, that we can't even. Well, a lot of companies
like
have
that
already
already
switched to
out.
that.
It's like that already out west. Can't have anything on the road really.
Yeah, but didn't like
Out west, you mean California?
Yeah.
didn't some companies already like switch to trying to be more California carb legal?
Nobody,
and
half the
stuff?
people don't even sell in California.
yeah.
I don't sell anything in California.
I won't sell anything in California.
I think Stainless Works a couple of years ago were like,
They-
we're not
yeah.
making the headers that we used to because of this. And
I remember seeing something like that. Yeah, the EPA cracking down on people. That's why I don't tune cars that go on the street.
yeah, classic. That's the best way to do it.
Only cars that are off road.
I don't even think I don't know if that even counts. But you have alcohol in the car, so it's clean burning alcohol.
Yeah. It just burns your eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like throat.
methanol's fine.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think cows make it too or something. I don't know, you know. Maybe that's methane.
What?
You never heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen
not
some LSs
methanol.
run on
It was a joke,
propane.
but it was
At LS Fest, there's a couple guys that run their cars on propane.
I've
Like
seen
LP.
propane engines before, like in normal
Well,
trucks
that's how
and stuff.
like a lot of the Bosch 210 injectors and stuff. They're for that natural
For
gas
propane.
injector that people are using for all their hot rods.
Isn't it crazy people just buy those and like sell them as their own brand?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are fake, but yeah.
They
Yeah.
just buy like fake Bosch 210s and they're like, these are my injectors for 8,000 horsepower. You're good.
Yeah.
And then people swear by them. And I'm like, well, you could just order those yourself from China.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake ones out there. I'm a big fan of I think they're Bosch's, that Holly sells, the red and black injector, the 220s.
Oh, the 220.
Maybe they're Siemens. They're Siemens. Never mind.
I run the ID 2650s in my Camaro because
ID
they're
makes
like
good injectors.
as big as you can go on like a street style
When are you going to
injector.
switch that thing to alcohol?
That thing's still on E?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've put a little bit of methanol in it. Like we've done a mix, but it's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either.
Yeah, it's not fun to be
Yeah.
like playing scientist
Yeah, no.
in your garage with a bucket.
You
Is that
mix
thing
that a little.
is that thing still air to water or what?
Yeah, it's still air to water. And it does not have enough air to water.
Yeah.
As most air to
I need
water
to take-
cars.
I need to take 2
Yeah, you're
minutes.
good. We're switching my car over to a Haltech.
I know Victor Performance.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's my windshield banner.
Haltech.
Yeah, some
Good stuff.
Australian stuff.
Worked a little bit with it. I like it.
Yeah, Garrett said they were going to cut it out of the Mustang, though. He said he wanted to put Holly in it. I don't know if that's just him wanting it or if there was too many hands on the Haltech stuff, made it
Yeah, I don't know.
complicated.
I like some of the features. I don't know it super well, but I like some of the features on it.
There's no, from what I've learned more and more, there's no perfect ECU. They
No.
all have their ups and downs.
Well, I keep seeing people switching and they're like ditching their Holly and going to a fuel tech or doing this or doing that. It's like, dude, if you can't go fast with that, you're not going fast with the other one. So
Yeah, because there's people that go fast with big stuff.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
original big stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't keep hopping around. They just keep doing the same
I
thing.
think some people do it just because like either they're going to have somebody tune the car, or they're going to switch
Right.
tuners. They prefer that
Yeah.
software. Like I prefer Holly over everything else. I also don't know everything else like the other guys do. If that's what you're comfortable with, that's what you know. That's why I tell people all the time is like, well, what should I put on it? It's like, well, depending on who you're going to have tune the car is
Right.
what you want to run.
Well, the fast guys will be fast no matter what
That's
ECU
it.
you put in
Yeah.
their hands.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the tell of what. I mean, Fuel Tech has done a huge push on having everyone having a Fuel Tech, it seems
Yeah,
like.
they got great marketing. And it's not a bad product.
No, and they're available.
Yeah.
Which is a huge bonus.
That's-
Definitely.
Being available
Yeah,
through 2019 to now
Yeah.
was.
It's tough being a Holly guy right now, you know? It's just,
What about being a Holly dealer?
I'm not a Holly dealer, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Because
make-
I've heard that was tough as well.
I could imagine, yeah. I know just from trying to buy them myself, I was like, you know what? I don't really want to deal with you not having anything in stock. Customer orders something, they're asking you where it's at. You can't tell them. They can't tell you. No thanks.
Yeah, I've heard some people are like, some dealers are like, I just order from Summit.
Yeah.
It's just easier. And I'm
Well,
like,
that's what they're like. Oh, if you have an ATEC account, you use that. I'm like, all right, let me look. It was 99 cents is what I saved.
Yeah.
99
Yeah.
cents. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not selling nothing. I'll use your stuff, but I'm not selling it.
What do you mean you could make 99 cents off of selling one?
Yeah, and then I would lose money in taxes.
It's true. Yeah.
That sucks that it's not even worth selling these products sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Doug Cook has his thoughts. We've all heard on
Yeah.
these.
They're all valid.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I think he's got a Haltech on his car too.
he just switched to
Yeah.
it. Yeah. He's got that LT deal, which is something that you've dabbled in.
Yeah.
Why have they not taken over LSs yet? Why have they not pushed further into
Here's
that?
the thing with LTs, right? So
the new LTs, not
we're talking Gen 5 LT.
yeah.
So it's a great motor. In fact, it's really similar to LS, except for direct injection, obviously. And the cylinder head design is different because of the direct injection. So they're really good with the direct injection. They make more power than a LS3, of similar size, we'll say same size motor.
Like a 6.2.
Similar intake design, as similar as you can get them at least. And obviously one of them's LT and one of them's LS. The DI motor is going to make much more power. It's got a better head on it for flowing, a dry port because it has so much more available volume because there's no fuel in the port. So it has potential to make more power until you get to the point where you're going to run out of what those injectors can do, what the pumps that are available, the DI pumps that are available, what they can put out, which is around 1,000.
But for a
Depending
race
on if you're
motor,
on gas or
if you put it on port injection,
yeah, and you just
you don't
ditch
have a
that.
problem. That's what I did. But yeah,
here's the
as far
problem,
as like the stock market of cars, having to supplement fuel with either methanol or adding a port injection because you're out of DI.
Yeah, for like a Camaro, like a 6th gen.
The benefit,
kinda
what
sucks.
he's getting at, is the whole benefit to a DI motor is the fact that the port is dry. It flows more CFM through it. There's no fuel flowing through it. So when you get away from being DI,
problem is though when you put fuel through them, that
Yeah, it
port is
doesn't-
horrible.
yeah.
With fuel going through it,
It's
it does
not
not flow
designed for
droplets
it.
well.
you can't say it's horrible because they still make power.
They still make power, of course. It's
Like,
a big port; it'll make power.
It still works well, but
It
Boost will
there's-
make up for.
they don't have an aftermarket. They just came out with an aftermarket block for them. They
well, the
only a
aftermarket
couple-
head that's out there, like you look at the one that LME's doing. Like, look how much smaller the port is than the factory one, and it still makes a ton more power.
Yeah.
because it actually pulls fuel.
There's
over
only a
short
few
turn.
few places that sell heads. So like the aftermarket support, realistically for LT stuff, isn't as far as the LS stuff is. But yeah, you can. I mean, dude.
Well, I make 3-bolt cams for them, and like you can literally use like a LME front cover.
Yeah.
And it moves the sensor location, so it's technically just an LS cam at that point.
Yeah, it's just reading like an LS.
Yeah.
On if you ditch
You just use a regular
the port
LS
injection,
3-bolt
Yeah,
4-pole gear.
or you ditch the direct injection, you just go port injection like Moonshine was. The blocks seem stronger.
Yeah.
They seem like they clamp the cylinder heads better.
They got a bigger stud.
And the aluminum blocks
Yeah.
are pretty much as strong as like an iron block for LS, it looks like.
So the thing with aluminum, and I don't know personally what other people's views on this. From some of the stuff that I read, it's kind of similar. I like the aluminum block because everything can move together. So everything kind of flexes. Like even after when I took the motor out of Moonshine, take it apart to just freshen everything up, everything was twisted as far as like deck surface, heads were twisted, and all that stuff. So
Definitely not
everything
good for ring seal, that's for sure.
you're going to start wearing bearings like they see that with Brett's on the Coyote deal with the stock crankshaft. Things are starting to flex, and you start to wear bearings and stuff like that. So it's one of those where you got to kind of go through the same thing they're doing and pick at certain pieces and make them better and perfect them. But yeah, that thing, dude, it was a stock 5.3. It had a rod piston crank in it.
Yeah.
Like one of our camshafts in it.
Yeah. It was a really small
A
camshaft.
class 80 mil on it, and it was going. I went a 54 at
454.
yeah, at almost 27.
No, 453.
Is it 53 or 54 with a dump valve open the entire way down the track because I forgot that I didn't shut it off on the starting line.
Yeah, so that thing's probably making 1,800 horsepower.
It was I'd say 15.
I would say 14 or
15,
15.
yeah, 1500 or so. Yeah,
Which
getting
for
it
like
down.
just like a basic off the shelf like Comstar
Yeah.
stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was it's a Cali's Comstar.
But you did that a
crank.
while ago, and I still don't see as many of them.
But we
which
still
is,
have the fastest.
It just doesn't make sense because
Yeah.
they're readily available.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
just as
Yeah.
expensive as the junkyard LS.
yeah.
No,
well,
they're
dude, I
actually-
was
I think
getting
they're
them cheap
cheaper,
for a
yeah.
stock bottom
Yeah.
end deal.
Yeah,
you
truthfully.
can't get better than a stock bottom end L83. If you're wanting to do a stock bottom end style motor, like the head flow compared to a stock 5.3 head is insanely better. All you gotta do is weld up the DI ports. You put some ring gap in it. Like we went 490s with stock bottom end 5.3 L83 and Chinese 69 mil turbos.
Yeah, and I don't know why that
And that
hasn't
was-
caught on.
We were 2,900 pounds then.
Because I think they just switched to that in what's that red Fox body that always goes for
Nigel and
record?
them, yeah.
Nigel.
Yeah,
They
Brutal
just switched
Speed.
to LT.
Yeah.
And they're pushing that now a little bit because
Yep.
they kind of ran through any LS record
Yeah.
they could.
I don't know what that motor combo is. I think it's a 416 maybe.
I don't
or
know the- I
380.
don't know the details
what
on
it
that
is.
one.
Yeah, those LTs like to be like 416, it seems like. But I kind of like
I don't-
388.
Unless you
don't like-
sleeve it, you're not getting 4125 bore out of it. It's going to be too thin.
Yeah, I
I
feel
don't like
388 for boost.
I don't really think it's necessary to be bigger than 400 inches for most of these turbo applications.
Yeah, 4125 bore is good. Anything more than that, really, you start to lose meat around the cylinder and get cylinder head seal starts to get worse. That's why I like the 5.3 bore because you get so much meat in the sleeve and so much sealing on it.
Yeah, but you can't put a good head on it though.
That's a problem
You
with
don't have enough
that,
bore
the
to do it.
small bore L80 or LT Gen 5 stuff is nobody makes an aftermarket cylinder head for the small bore stuff.
But you can't just make the stock cylinder head just
Well, you wanna-
work. You really
you-
need a different cylinder head on those deals.
It flows really well. You can make a lot of power with it. It's more, it comes into play with deck surface.
The problem is flowing droplets, like I said.
That too. It's not meant to flow fuel.
Yeah.
So
they
you
do
can
a really bad job of flowing droplets.
That's so.
But
that's
it's
so
still,
weird.
though,
You've
I
seen
mean-
testing, right? Like they'll take a Gen 5 LT engine, run it with the DI, and they'll take the DI off of it,
Totally
put it
do
on
that
port,
test.
and it loses like 80 horsepower or something crazy like that. And everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, the DI is so good. The DI is so good." It's like, no,
Port is
that
just so
port is
bad.
just so bad at flowing droplets.
But even still, though, a stock, you take a stock L83 head versus a stock 5.3 LM4 head.
Oh,
it's
that's
still, even though it's not good at flowing fuel, it still flows better than that.
Of
so
course.
Yeah, because the ports are huge too.
They're really lazy too. It's a big, really
yeah, it's a what are they,
port.
250 cc run or something like
big.
that, and they got a little cant to them. I mean, they're good heads.
Yeah.
That's what I've always seen. Like when
They're
I
very
first
stood
saw
up
them.
though. Like if you look at the line of sight,
Yeah,
it's very
it's
stood
straight.
up. It's straight down. It doesn't have a really good short turn to pull
What's
the fuel.
weird
over.
on them is the exhaust side because it turns.
Yeah, I can't decide why. I can't imagine why they would do that, except for maybe in a certain chassis they needed it to be set back. I don't know.
Have you looked at them? The exhaust port.
They make a
trying to
turn.
picture
They literally
them.
make a
It literally
turn.
feels like that. It's it hooks.
And a lot of the aftermarket, I think all the aftermarket castings for the
No,
LTs
only
actually.
there's only a couple of them that
Well,
actually
2Js
straighten
kind
it
of do
out.
that. 2J heads do
The
like a
Edelbrock
weird
does.
turn.
The Edelbrock straightens them out.
Yeah, they do like a weird turn up also, almost like it goes like that, the exhaust.
Yeah, I
side.
haven't looked it up.
They're,
I
they're
haven't,
like
I
this
haven't looked
big.
at much 2J stuff
Yeah.
at all. Yeah.
The exhaust ports are so small in that it would be.
They work though.
You just push a lot of air through it, I guess.
Yeah.
80 pounds of boost.
Well, that's what they
You got all the
straighten it
energy
out,
in
but
the
I don't
world
know.
on the exhaust side. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Edelbrock straightened out the port on those, but I don't know if it actually picked up anything. Or not.
So then intake would
I
probably
don't know
be
for sure.
hugely important on that deal.
Intake manifold.
Intake manifold.
Yeah.
Like something like a tall CID or something like a short runner. or
CID just came out with something that
They came out with like a single plane
yeah,
style.
I had a high ram on the stock bottom
Mm-hmm.
end deal, and then I had a BTR Trinity on this one. I don't know which was better. I know that down low, that changes that I made going to the big single with that manifold and a little bit bigger camshaft killed the converter that I had in the car. Worked really well, and when I did that, it killed all low end torque. That thing wanted to be 8,200, 8,300 RPM.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? Like you're only going to get realistically, you'll get a 2,000 RPM window of in a race motor where it's going to make good power.
Yeah.
So, and then you got a small motor. It's hard to get that thing to light off a turbo. So that's where like it's crazy how different a turbo cam could be. Like for a street car, it could just be like really any old, NA camshaft will work most of the time. You look at race car stuff and it's so different than something you'd run in a street car. with
Yeah,
turbo
people
stuff.
look at like a dyno graph on a race car and they look at the whole thing for some reason.
It doesn't matter.
When you're really only like
You let go of the button and it's
here,
never
yeah.
under 6,000 RPM.
Yeah, if you're looking like way
Yeah.
down here, like what are you worried about? Like
Yeah.
idling back?
You run the car from
Yeah.
68 at the lowest. Really, it's it comes out of the converter at 6,000 plus normally, right?
Yeah, it's not a drift car. You
And-
don't like
Yeah, I think
use
mine
the
flashed
RPM
on-
range.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on what you're building and what you're looking at. But yeah, my car flashed 6,500, shift drop of 6 to 800.
Yeah, shifted at 82. It drops
Yeah.
back down to 74.
Yeah, like if my car
That's
sees
it.
anything below 5,800 RPM from starting line to finish line,
Yeah,
like
there's
it's
something wrong.
something very
Yeah,
wrong.
it's
like,
hurt.
that's- like we leave at like 5,500 and I come through at like
Mm-hmm.
6,000, 7,000. It should be higher, but
Yeah, it's two totally different worlds too. Building a street style deal
Mm-hmm.
versus like I'm going racing versus I'm going to drive this on the street.
well, even like with you dealing with like a mud truck or like a airboat, the power bands of those two are so different
Yeah,
as well
because
and
the
what they
airboat,
need.
depending on what kind of gearbox you have, depends on how much RPM. So if you're
Yeah.
2 to 1 or 3 to 1, whatever, your
typically-
max prop speed's only going to be 3,000 RPM. So
And the blade pitch.
well, the blade pitch, you're
It's gonna-
still prop speed is where they typically stop you at. You're 3,500 RPM.
The blade pitch will definitely load
That's
down
all
the
they
motor
go to?
differently. It'll load the motor differently.
Prop speed.
Okay.
So you have to have a step down. So the gearbox, if it's 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1, you can go 6,000, 6,200 engine RPM to keep the prop speed where you want. And then you also adjust pitched for push
Right.
and controlling RPM, stuff like that. So that's where, when you start to have more horsepower, your pitch on your prop will start to change because you can push more with the power, keeping in the same RPM range.
Yeah, so if you have more power, you can have more pitch to your.
Yeah,
More
I was
torque.
actually talking to JH about it the other day because he's got like a 6 liter or something on his airboat. I forget what it is. But I was like, why don't you just put nitrous on that thing? He's like, well, then it's going to be a turd when I'm not spraying it. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, the prop pitch. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that
Yeah.
you got to change the pitch for when you're going to actually hit the nitrous.
Yeah. Need a variable pitch deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a
Gotta figure
helicopter.
that out. Yeah.
Well, helicopters do it.
Yeah, they do that. They call
that
it like
sounds
auto
expensive.
glide or something.
Yeah, the auto rotate.
Yeah.
Nothing about helicopters.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
Only thing I know about helicopters is I ain't getting in them.
You haven't gotten in one at all.
I don't.
Can't even get this guy to get on a plane.
Yeah, I don't.
let alone
No
a
airplanes, no
helicopter.
helicopters. barely can make it over the Skyway.
Airboats, you're good on that?
I'll get on airboat.
As long as
Depends
it's
on
the
who's
ground.
driving it,
boat,
but
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I'm driving it, probably not.
yeah.
I mean,
Somebody
Garrett's a pretty
sensible.
scary driver
Yeah.
too. Oh, those airboat guys, they melt those things down though, like because they're just hard on them. Anytime I've ever been around airboats, they're like stuck and they're just like, and I'm just like,
Yeah, just lugging that.
Look
thing
at-
just
down.
like,
Look at your friends though. The
please.
people that you're with, they do
Yeah.
that in anything. It
No, but,
doesn't
like-
have to be an airboat.
even like in the distance, you see a guy that's like slightly stuck and he's just got it pinned
Yeah.
and is not moving, and you're just like, oh my god, like that thing's just peak RPM right now, just.
Yeah.
Yeah, the airboat stuff, we do a ton of camshafts for them. I have one customer that he buys probably 2 a week, just airboat cams.
Their
They
airboats are
just build
tough.
that many airboats.
Yeah, he does a ton of them.
I like tuning them, but they're tough because they want the sound. But when you have a choppy idle,
I can make him have some idle sound. That's not really a problem.
typically though,
The problem is
when you got a
these
bunch of
guys-
overlap, it wants a bunch of RPM. Typically,
These guys shove. Well, you can really dial in on it with the intake valve close event. But
but-
that's the problem, right? So these things all have to run in a 3,500 to 6,000 or 6,200 RPM range, whatever they want for that given motor. But then they'll put a bunch of compression in it, and I'm like, okay, what fuel you running it on? And they're like, oh, pump. It's like, I can't really make you a cam that's going to make power where you want here
Some
with that much
pump
compression
93.
because it's going to bottle up too much cylinder pressure, and it's just going to try to detonate on you.
Do they run NA deals on a lot of them?
Yeah, a lot of them are NA.
yeah.
Because I've seen a couple LSA ones before too.
Yeah, I'd say majority of them are probably NA.
I feel like I'd rather be NA than have
Yeah.
a blower on.
I've
those
done
deals.
a few blower ones. I did one with an LT5 on it. That was pretty rowdy. Had rotator props on it and stuff. It was spicy.
They do big money for sure.
Oh, dude, this boat.
They go all out.
Yeah.
But the LSs are even the cheap ones. Like
Yeah.
you can do like those airplane motors where they're
Yeah, I
like,
don't know the cost of an airplane motor versus one of those.
Them
but
old
I know a
Continentals
crate
probably ain't that
LT5 engine is
expensive,
not
but-
cheap.
yeah, crate
Crate
LT5.
LT5,
That's
yeah.
baller.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
That's a big flex to roll up on the
dude, it was a nasty
swamp.
boat.
Pull up on the Flint River and
He was like a
crate
soybean
LT5.
farmer or something out of Texas. I don't know.
They take flight too. Like they'll like catch like a little bit of like ripple and suddenly they're just like swoop,
Yeah.
right up in the air.
I'll tell you what though, I like doing airboat cams more than regular boat cams because
Oh,
wet
like a
exhaust.
jet boat cam.
Yeah, but like a regular inboard outboard deal, those things. I mean, I do a ton of big block stuff for them, like big block cams and stuff.
Yeah.
Some small block stuff too, but when they have wet exhaust, you gotta watch out for reversion. Mm-hmm. If you put too much overlap on the exhaust side, especially,
Oh, you're
it'll
gonna
try to
suck in the
revert,
water.
Suck in the water, yeah.
Huh. Why do they have to run? Why do they even have to run the water?
To cool because it's all under a hatch, right? And it's not like a car where there's a grill in the front.
Oh, okay.
So you don't get any airflow to it. You have to cool the exhaust manifold some way.
Interesting, because I feel like I've seen that a lot of the time, and I'm like, it almost seems unnecessary a little bit. Like you've never seen anybody else cool an
If you
exhaust
take the lid off,
manifold.
Yeah.
if you take the lid off and everything, I mean, you could run it like a normal car and just run headers and out the top. And you could run a radiator even like.
Finnegan runs those big block boats like that, where like the motor's like up here,
Yeah.
and like he's sitting down here.
Yeah.
Like the center of gravity is like all the way up here on your boat, and you're just like, holy shit.
His
like-
are probably either they have a radiator in them or he only runs it in fresh water.
They're
so
open.
it's
They're
probably,
not under a hatch. They're just open.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of them had like a
Dude, those-
Sonny's big block in it.
Yeah, you ever
really
seen
big,
the
heavy.
nitro ones they run? Those nitro drag
Dude,
boats.
they're faster than
Yep.
on the cars. I'm
Dude,
pretty
they're
sure.
insane.
It's insanity.
Well, even there's people that drag race. What's it called? The not the jet skis, the snowmobiles on like
Yeah.
a drag strip. You ever see
Oh
that?
yeah. With like skateboard, they put like
they
skateboard
put
wheels
wheels
in
on
the
the front,
ski.
yeah.
I've seen them a couple.
And they go
different ways,
fast
yeah.
too.
Yeah, some of them things are rowdy, dude.
Like,
Even they're racing them on the snow. There was a couple that I saw that were just insanely fast. It's like
Yeah,
Jesus.
they put like studs on them and stuff and run
Yeah.
ice lakes and whatnot.
yeah, there's some cool drag. Well, I did say also about the mud trucks. So that's a whole different world of building.
I've been trying to get him to
for
get into
also.
one, dude.
yeah,
yeah,
mud
build-
trucks are fun.
Build yourself a mud truck.
Nah.
I feel like
It's
it'd
just
be
not
a
my
really, really fun toy.
Yeah, break
Except for
it,
that
and
one
then
that I was in
won't-
that almost
yeah.
flipped over. Remember that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I did. I was doing a turbo one day, and I
I
just
was riding
for some
it,
reason I
yeah.
didn't want to drive the thing. Normally I'll drive, But that one, I just was like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it today. So I was just letting the computer log or whatever. And he went for a ride in the thing, and it leaves, and the front shock separates. So as soon as he gets out of the gas, the thing just buries the front wheel and tries to roll over. I was like, oh.
Well, I watched Jage almost drown in his.
When he
Into
rolled into
Garrett's
the pond.
pond.
Yeah, dude, that was wild.
He tried to drive over that K car, and it just goes,
Yeah, I remember seeing that video.
There's got to be glass in that pond still. At the bottom of it. It was like Cheyenne and
You know how
Jage.
bad that. Does he still have the truck?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think he
wonder
still
if
got
it
that
just
original
smells like
truck.
old pond water in that thing.
Oh, it's
It only
gotta
sat in
be.
there for a night, right?
Yeah, just one night in
Yeah.
there. Well, the problem is, too, you use it on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're cleaning it
Yeah.
or
Yeah, that's-
fixing it.
Yeah, that's
And that red one you work on is really badass.
Oh yeah, Brian's truck.
That thing is
Yeah.
like...
That thing's insane.
it's weird to see like a meticulously made mud truck because you know what they have to go through.
Yeah, and he's a very smart, and he's a hell of a fabricator. So he does like a bunch of cool stuff to make everything work like it's supposed to. That thing's rowdy.
But then you go and abuse it in mud and do towing.
Yeah,
with
he was doing a
people.
lot of tugs with it. I guess he was taking it out in the mud too. That thing is too nice for me. I couldn't take it in the mud.
I don't even like having that nice of race cars.
Yeah.
It
So you're
makes
afraid
me
to like,
nervous.
do stuff with it. You're gonna scratch it or something. Yeah.
Well, because I know something's gonna happen. Like
Yeah.
I know something's gonna like fall on it and scratch it, or like a tent is gonna hit it. Like, you know, the joke is always me and Gonzo have the same car,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that is.
yeah.
and I know it's so offensive for him. Like I don't think he cares. But
I don't
like
think he cares either.
I don't think he cares. But
But
like
it is kind of offensive.
oh, I mean, it's the worst like dig you can do to be like, wow, is that
Yeah.
Cooper's car?
Yeah.
Because
I feel like people do it on purpose now because they know they're like, oh, is that Cooper's car? But
I always
the
comment
amount
on
of people
there.
like, whose car is this? James own that car? It's like, dude, how many times have I had to say this in the videos? Like, I said this at least 10 times. Like,
my car is clapped out.
Or the announcers, got a big block in it. It's
Yeah.
like, no, it doesn't.
It does kind of look like a big block when you just
yeah, if
see
you,
under the hood.
that's
It's a
why I
Canyon
explained
rotated
the
valve.
last time what it was. People were like, oh, it's small block, big block, it's this, it's that. It's like, no, it's a LS deal, but I see where the confusion. It looks like a big
It
block.
looks like a spread port big block.
Yeah.
Just a really
Yeah.
small spread port big block.
What's your take on that Grubworms motor deal?
LT?
It's like an LT
it's a Gen 2.
Gen 2,
Yeah.
but then sometimes
Actually, I
it's a
think-
small block
I
Chevy.
think right now it's just a standard small
I don't
block
know.
Chevy block.
He's back and forth all the time. I don't think you can ever know
Look, I
what's
mean,
in it.
we
Either
all
way,
know.
I wish he would put. If he would put, dude, I said this the other day.
What?
Is if he put an auto in that car, he would come wreck the street class. Him and Brett LaSalle will be going. I guarantee you, head to head.
No, he'd have to put a radiator in it and stuff, and not filled block.
Well, yeah, that's true too because he's on alcohol.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
if he put an auto in that
Yeah.
thing, dude, he would wreck.
It would be really cool. I talked to him once, and he was like a little beat down on the car, and he was like,
Yeah.
I think I might put a turboform
Yeah.
in it. And I think he backed off on that.
Yeah.
And now he's like, hates LSs, and
Yeah.
that's become his thing.
That would be
Yeah.
that would
Well,
be the
he's a
thing.
good-
It's like,
hey,
but that's what I'm
listen,
getting at though. It would
he
be
found
a
traction.
Coyote car and an old small block Chevy
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
running the street class.
Oh my gosh.
That
Look, there's nothing wrong with small block Chevrolets. I mean, they have their issues, of course.
Well, the thing with his too is it's not like it's got some crazy badass cylinder head on it either.
No, it's like it's a really old like trick flow or something.
Yeah.
but it's also not like a
Been welded on
aftermarket
a
block.
ton, but
I don't think.
It's a
he
bow
ran
tie
a he
block.
ran a like a
From the last
Gen
video
2.
I saw, he had a bow tie block in it. I don't know much about it.
he does run
so.
a Gen 2 LT block sometimes though.
Yeah, like it's just like an LT with like OptiSpark pulled off it type
Yeah.
of block.
Yeah.
And I don't know of anybody else that even pushes that motor like at any point.
I know of plenty of people that
There's-
push small block Chevys.
yeah.
So I mean, it's
You
kind
see
of
it
the same
in, like,
thing.
class
Is it really
racing
that
stuff.
close
Yeah,
where
it's the
like
same
the
thing.
cam will just kind of go in and stuff?
You could interchange the camshafts between them.
Yeah, a lot of them.
The only difference is on 95 and newer, the OptiSpark snout is different on the cam. But besides that, it's the same stuff.
Yeah, a lot of the small block Chevy stuff you see in any kind of class racing, they're running way different head and they're Siamese port and stuff like that. So they're
I mean, spread port.
whatever. They're spread port.
They're Siamese from the fact.
It
That's
sounds
right. That's
cool.
right. The Siamese are together.
I mean,
They're
it
not
sounds cool and it
Siamese.
builds boost really fast for that turbo. Like it gets up real quick, but I guess that's just the nature of stick shift as well.
Look, here's
Yeah,
the
stick
thing,
shift
right?
and alcohol.
Yeah, you
Like
kind of
small block
up.
Chevys, they have 5 bolts per cylinder. So
Yeah, so
they head seal pretty good. The problem is though, the threads are right at the top of the deck. They're not set into the deck. So as far as when you start torquing down that stud, I don't know what that does to change the shape. But
Yeah.
they are really close. The bolts are really close to the cylinders too, compared to like a LS or small block Ford.
Well, that's the only reason that I always avoid high power LS stuff in general is just cylinder heads are coming off too frequently for my liking.
Yeah, I mean,
Seems like the common situation.
You can get them to the point where they seal up pretty good, and you got a good program going on.
Quarter mile racing period is rough on stuff.
But it seems like 1,800 horsepower ish, like a 720 LS running out the back.
At what weight though?
They're usually in street car. It's really rare to see like under 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, you're
and that's usually
pounds.
Where you get a few passes out of it.
Yeah. When Garrett went sixes with the LS, what did it weigh?
It was like 3,400 to 3,500.
Yeah,
I think it was making some power.
Sure, hefty.
Just
leaning
we
on
could have
it.
gone. I think we could have gone faster, like with the stuff that I know now versus then. We could definitely have gone faster.
Same thing. I told him to tool up that valve. I was like,
it was a heavy car at that time,
that
and
valve.
yeah, I don't know. That was a tough deal. I think it always was meant to be big block in that car. Should have always
for
been.
that weight. For how fast
reliability and that weight.
Doubt.
Time, yeah.
Because the amount of shit you're trying to shove into that El Camino to make it like a street car.
Yeah, if it was 1,000 pounds lighter, well, we'll say 600 pounds lighter, it probably went okay.
I can't believe how heavy it still is. Like it has like fiber.
I mean, it
has like carbon fiber everywhere. And
yeah, but it's a car. I mean, it's a whole car. It's not like what we do with the gray area frame rail stuff and all that stuff. It's all there.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What gray area frame rail?
Yeah.
He's still got everything there.
About as thick as this.
Yeah.
Look,
it's a factory frame rail. It's still there, okay?
It says factory frame rail. It doesn't say how much you have to have.
It could be zip tied in.
Look, it's in the trunk, all right?
Same thing with the floors.
Back there.
With the floor roll, you have to have factory floors.
Yeah, that's like when Gonzo was like, yeah, it still has a torque arm. I was like, it has a torque arm or it still uses a torque arm?
It's using it. It is a torque arm suspension on that car. But floor-wise, like my car, it has to have factory floors.
Factory out of what?
It doesn't say factory to that car. It just says factory floors.
That whole factory suspension thing, I always get frustrated by as well. It has to have factory suspension. Okay, so IRS car now can have a triangulated four link.
As long as you're not back half most of the time, you're good.
But James's 240 with a triangulated Mustang 4-link, I get it.
It's factory.
It's a bolt-in thing, though.
It's factory
not like,
Mustang.
Okay, so if it was welded in.
Yeah, if you had to back half the car to put it in,
even as far back,
I feel like it would be more of an issue. But it is,
as you can remember, like they would let you do like Chevy 2s and Camaros. They would let you do like a bolt-on strut front end.
They still
because it's bolt-on, you know. And
but
it's a strut front end. I mean,
if I really wanted to, I can have somebody make a bolt-in triangulated 4-link on my car.
You could, and it would be factory style suspension from a Mustang.
Yeah, like from either a Fox body or like a new S197.
Yeah.
I think for what you're doing, I'd probably keep the torque arm.
The torque arm works for me.
Probably works pretty well.
I mean, you see what we're doing with the torque arm car.
Yeah, I've been 115 with it.
Yeah.
At 3,200 pounds.
We were 104 at 28, almost 2850. So
I also don't have a turbo 400. That would help me a lot.
That would, if you had some ratio.
Better ratio? Yeah. And I wouldn't bend my crank as much probably.
Well, you're not only that, you're not set up to run 8th mile. You have a lot of
gear?
rear gear.
It's factory.
180?
Yeah.
Or 182 or whatever.
It's like 181 or something, whatever the factory
Your Power Glide?
Yeah.
180.
Yeah.
If it's an aftermarket case, it's probably got a straight cut gear set, so it's a 180.
Yeah.
Yeah. 180 with what, a 350 rear gear?
It's now a 373.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
you need a 400 with some ratio.
Yeah, if you're wanting to run 8th mile, though, you could put up probably, what RPM, you rev that thing to?
We can go to like 9, 10.
You could put a 430 gear
I was going to say,
in it.
put a 430 gear in it with that thing. Then
it might be tough to leave.
8th mile trim.
Yeah, I don't know. I think your starting line ratio is probably working.
Some of that's going to be
the starting line ratio works.
Yeah.
It goes like 115, 117, 60 foot pretty consistently. But then we just on the gear shift and out the back is kind of like it just dies.
Yeah.
It just like fall like out the back. I'm just like, all right, like it's not even RPMing anymore. It feels like it's starting to lose RPM.
It's not accelerating.
No, I'm like decelerating.
So you grab a lockup somehow.
Like the G meter goes.
Yeah.
And then I just come through the traps, just
turn
going
on the
slower.
lockup and it just lugs the motor down. Slows down.
Crankshaft falls on the ground.
Oh yeah, I would drive over the crank if I tried to lock up. I like when people have the power glides and they do like the fake lockups on it.
Yeah.
The lockup power glide.
Yeah. The dump valve.
No, it's
Isn't that what they're calling it?
gear vendors or whatever.
Oh yeah, you could do that too, but I don't trust.
What's fake lockup? What are you talking
Well,
about?
people were just faking it. They're like, oh yeah, I got a lockup power glide. Dealman was
Yeah,
claiming
everybody
that
takes
shit.
everybody on their dump valve. They like write lockup.
Lockup.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's a joke, bro.
The problem is I've broken quite a few power glides, so I need to switch to a 400 just for reliability.
Yeah, I was a big power glide guy. Now I'm not. I will
I'm still
never
a big
run
power
one
glide
ever
guy
again.
because I got slow stuff. So
I mean, what's slow stuff? I kind of do too.
yeah,
I had a
I
2-speed
don't weigh as
400
much
in
as you, though,
mine,
so-
so it was 148 first gear.
Why 2-speed? Why did you ditch?
because he couldn't afford the 3-speed.
Yeah.
That down in third gear.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that extra gear, dude, adds some cost there.
Yeah.
Now I called to order a 3-speed and they talked me out of it. So I was like, all right, we'll try the 2-speed, and I went 107 to the 60 with a 2-speed 400. That little motor.
with a 148 first and a little motor.
Yeah, 5.3. I mean,
Yeah.
forged
Yeah.
5.3. It was going
148 first and it was
At
like a 410.
2,700 pounds, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
And I was
wish I could get
still
my car
figuring
down to
out-
that.
I was still figuring out the suspension at that time too. Like I can get it faster. I know more now. It's
Well, if
crazy
we
how
would've
much you
realized the
learn.
dump valve was open the whole time.
Oh yeah, it would have went faster.
That car probably would have took the LT record.
That car would have went
period.
440s. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would have took the LT record period with a 5.3 with like Comstar parts.
Why not put it in James's 240 and take the LT record?
We could build another one.
Yeah, I'm not that
Build
worried
another
about
one
it.
and try to take that record.
If
back.
anybody's got $2,000 sitting around, you could build one too.
Not that one. He'd probably be 6,000-7,000. Just it's a cheap motor. That's the thing. It's like it's forged. When you add machine work and do all this stuff, you're probably $7,000.
The other
at
flip side
retail.
is you
Yeah,
can't
easily.
do $200 headers like an LS.
Oh yeah, you do.
you
I
can.
had speed engineering.
Oh, do
headers
they?
on that thing. Yeah.
Okay, because the LS that's nice. You get those $200.
Yeah.
I had
They were
damn near
only
as much.
they were only 1.75" primary too.
No, they were inch and 7/8.
For the LT.
They were inch
Oh,
and
I didn't know they
7/8.
made those.
Speed engineering makes them. But I damn near had more in the turbo than I did the entire motor.
Yeah,
That's so freaking cool.
Those
I
are-
love those LTs. I think they really should take off. I kind of been frustrated. That
I said
they
that on the way
haven't.
down here. Is like there's not the market's there, but it's not. I don't feel like it's.
I feel like
A
the market's
big-
still there. I mean, the market's
big
huge
thing.
already. It's streetcar stuff though.
Well, because
Not race car stuff
LSs
yet.
have gone pretty pricey now. Junkyard LSs.
Everything's starting to come up. Yeah, I was getting those. That's the thing. I was getting those L83s. That's why I mentioned earlier, stock bottom end deal. Dude, I was picking them things up for $400.
Yeah.
I had like 4 or 5 of them, $400 to $600, and you just take them apart and gap the rings and put them back together.
Yeah, the LT stuff is huge market right now for the street cars because like that's what everything is now.
Yeah.
I think it'll start slowly getting to like the stock bottom end guys and the budget racers will start using them, and then eventually it'll catch up and become more of a front runner in the serious race stuff.
You think you could get McFlurry to go faster than Garrett's El Camino?
Flurry.
The
How fast has
Mustang
McFlurry been now?
I
690.
yeah, I would need some help.
I wonder if
I
they
think
could-
we'd need bigger turbos, probably different.
Yeah.
If we had a turbo 400 with lockup, yeah, but I'm gonna need some
Turbos
I would
and a
need
lockup.
little bit of guidance on some of that.
Yeah, I mean McFlurry probably weighs 27, 8.
They kept saying it was heavy to me,
I don't know what it weighs. I know we've been pretty fast to the 60 foot.
but I think that's James's like it's ingrained into James to
Yeah,
lie
lie
when somebody
about it.
asks how
200
heavy a
pounds.
car is.
Yeah.
It's 3,200.
Yeah, like if you
It's
ask him how
stock.
heavy the 240 is,
Yeah.
he's like,
It's
"Oh, it's
3,200.
heavy."
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the inner grudge races. He'll never tell you anything about his car. It's
Yeah, like you-
stock. It's got a small turbo and it weighs 40.
He'll never tell you anything, but he'll go out there with no hood on it, so you can see everything.
You see it all glowing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
down track, like because in my view, when he was in front of me, I could see everything under his hood just glowing red.
The headers that he has on that thing are, dude, they're so broken. Like I went over there the other day to get it running for him, and I'm like, dude, like they're dude, they're all cracked. He's welded on them like 10 times. Like, dude, just they're cheap. They're like $200. Just put a new
Yeah,
set
just
on.
get new headers. Yeah, mine's all my exhaust manifold on my car is all like that thick 301
Yeah.
stainless. So that it's heavy as can be, but it does
Yeah,
not
the ones
crack.
He's got on there like those Flowtech $200
409
jobs.
stainless or
Yeah,
something.
they're
I mean, it works. He's made like 12 turbo kits out of those.
yeah. Just that's what I'm saying. Just grab another set at
It
this
was
point. Just
twin
toss them
turbo
on.
for like one event, and then it was single turbo for
Yeah.
two.
It was twins when we
He's
had my
probably got like
427 in
10
it.
freaking 10 turbo kits for that thing sitting around.
you have?
It's had so many different.
Do you have a race
setups.
car still, Bobby?
I still drive a race car. I don't have one of my own anymore.
We just blew that thing up, actually.
Yeah. Somehow we had less power, less timing, less everything than we've ever ran, less nitros than we've ever ran, and it went out there at showtime and
It exploded.
kicked a rod out of it. Yeah.
Freaking tuners.
I'm pretty sure I heard it the night
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
Freaking tuners,
100%.
man. You can't trust
I
them.
know, right? This guy's unbelievable.
Dude,
Go out there.
he should have lifted, but it's okay.
Okay, but in my defense, the pass I made before that was so slow that I thought this is just how slow it was supposed
didn't
to
make
be.
a pass, but either way, yeah. The thing was, we had it turned down to try to go no prep racing, and
I let go of the button and I was like, this is
not
really
happy.
slow. I was like, this does not feel right, but I guess this is how much power he took out. Boom!
it exploded. I don't know if I've heard a nitrous car. It literally exploded, dude. Like,
Dude, the
so
Lexan
loud.
scoop, like, isn't you can't find it. It just
I
evaporated.
was walking down the track picking up pieces of scoop and
Well,
engine block.
I call him. There's like no oil leak. It got it right on the side of the block, right? Kicked a rod out of it, so it was like above the oil pan. So there was really no oil leaking.
There should have been.
Like I didn't see nothing, right? So yeah, I see what he's getting at, but it's not true.
I don't know how much oil was in that motor.
no,
but
there was oil. Yeah. So, well, I had just put a head gasket on it the day before.
That doesn't mean there's oil in it.
No, I checked it when I was doing it.
Yeah.
So it was on the dipstick. That's a good sign.
But yeah, somehow I was worried though because they let us go out on showtime before anybody got there, and they had already just drug the track, and I'm like, dude, we just oiled this man's track down.
After you
but there
asked
wasn't a
them to,
drop.
like-
There was not a drop of oil. I picked up all the Lexan, all the engine
So I
block,
call him
and we were
I'm
good.
like hitting it, and I'm like, it's hurt. It's got to be hurt. It's broken, definitely. I call him like, hey, it won't start. He's like, yeah, I'm walking down the track with pieces of your block in my hand.
It won't start.
I thought it was just a nitrous backfire at first.
That's what I thought too. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was doing that the whole night before too. It
Can't
was
you
fighting
kind
us.
of? Doesn't a blown up motor kind of have a whiff to it? You know, kind of like a smell to it when she's
No.
really kicked.
Not this one.
Maybe the
Yeah.
coolant that
Yeah.
I'm used to, the water. You
Yeah,
can
when you
kinda
smell the coolant, I don't.
or just water
We
in
don't run
general.
coolant.
Yeah.
It didn't push a head gasket or anything. It just
No.
exploded. The
Like,
You know
bottom.
what though? Like those
When a head
connecting-
gasket lets go, you could just feel it in the air almost.
You can
Yeah,
hear it too. It
those
sounds like
connecting
electricity
rods.
just.
the connecting rods and crankshaft that were in that motor
Oh,
were
yeah.
about 8 years old.
Those
They were
were-
out
that
of
was-
his motor.
Yeah,
that he
out
was
of my
having the
white truck. From
way back.
Oh, so they have a pass.
They probably
yeah.
have all of 500 or 800 passes.
they-
on them,
a ton of run
hard
on it.
passes on them.
We were talking about the no prep the nitrous on prepped no time stuff, and Troy's car, that Corvette.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fast.
He's fast.
That thing's probably going like a freaking 390, isn't it?
I think it's
He's
faster.
faster than that.
It's like
But
unlimited.
It's a 4840
Yeah,
car, so it's a standard big block bore spacing. Obviously, they
I thought that was like a 959.
yeah, I think it's like 900.
I don't know how big it is.
Yeah, it's nine.
one of those
it was
Nelson
It was a
competition,
big,
like-
big motor.
Yeah, but it's
900
4840
motor.
bore space, so you got to figure it's probably 4630, 4640 bore, and it's probably a tall deck block with a 5-inch stroke in it, or a 200
something-
stroke or something.
Something magic about watching that car
Yeah,
go down the
it
track
just goes down the track at like 6,800 RPMs. Ball.
with flames.
It sounds like 6800,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh, I
not.
know, I know.
Yeah,
with flames as tall as me.
Yeah.
just going down
That-
the track.
That's just the love thing with a nitrous car, dude. A big power nitrous car. Just the candles is
Yeah.
just something to just watch.
And then when it shuts off, you see all the tips of the
Yeah.
spark plugs
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
with it, or like right at like
Probably run a strapless plug in it.
300 feet, you see it
Yeah.
go tick.
Yeah, if you start seeing tink, 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 that's usually piston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pieces of piston.
Yeah.
Anybody that's really fast, well, I can't say anybody that's really fast. Most people, I think, are on strapless plugs,
Yeah.
surface
The
gap
nitrous
deals.
guys.
You have to really like it to run nitrous at that power level, though. It
Yeah.
seems like a labor of love.
Yeah,
like
I
the
agree.
Pro Mod nitrous guys.
Kind of anything that fast is, though, really.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
yeah.
Even the Shadow was like popping the blower off.
Yeah. Blower
Yeah.
cars are hard on.
half
I was
of
gonna
the
say turbo
passes.
cars too, but even like turbo
Blower
cars
cars
at
are
that,
hard
they're
on
making
stuff,
so much power that they just break shit.
I love watching Pro Mod for that reason. Like I know Pro Mod gets a lot of
I love
slack
Pro Mod.
in
He's
the.
not a big tire guy, so he doesn't do anything for him. But for
Yeah.
me, I think Pro Mod's cool.
I'll watch it, but yeah,
How they're able to keep that tire
even
around.
RVW though, I could care less. Like I like the slower stuff. I think you get.
That's so cool though.
I
think
like
it's- I think it's
XT75
easier
and
to go-
Ultra Street are my two favorite classes, and other stuff I'll just watch it. But those are my two favorite classes.
Obviously, I don't have any hands-on experience on these things, but I'd say it's probably, in my opinion, easier to go faster on a 315 radial than it is to go on a big tire. I think it takes
I think some of
much
that is weight.
better tuner.
I think
On a
Pro
big
Mods are
tire.
heavier than RVW cars too.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Well, and like an RVW passes like yes or no.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like
It's flip a coin.
it's
Is it
on
gonna
or
go
off.
down?
If it doesn't make a pass, it doesn't make a pass.
Yeah.
Like a pro mod, you kind of have to drive it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your radial tire car
they're just-
spins and you're not just like off the gas, like
Yeah, but how they keep those big tires, those big floppy tires, from not just turning into a square is amazing.
I think it's cool. Yeah, I like pro mod. I know a lot of people like to make fun of big floppy tires. A lot of people.
I don't think
That's
they
why I
belong-
said earlier, like,
okay,
I don't-
I can make fun of the bracket racers with the big tires that go out there and run like a 1050 or a 1080. It's
That's
like,
fine.
All right.
Or like Outlaw 632,
Yeah.
I don't really care that much about. Like
I like Outlaw
I get
632.
it's
I don't
kind
like
of cool.
big tires. I don't care if it's
I can-
slick. I just don't like big tires.
I can
hate
get down
watching it.
with Outlaw 632. I like that.
No prep kings.
Yeah, not a fan.
Those
Don't care.
big
If you were
tires.
out there, no prep kings on a 10.5, I'd watch it. But you're on a big ass tire, and I don't care.
You know, it's probably going to come out already, but I'm pretty sure the UFC bought the rights for NPK.
Really?
Dana White.
That's pretty cool.
Those are the rumors.
I
I've
wonder what to
heard,
do with it. Though.
I don't know.
That it's all going to be pay-per-view UFC style events live.
Dude, that'd be pretty cool. I guess.
I don't think so. I don't watch it anyways. I don't really care. But
It's an interesting avenue that it's not going to be Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
10
Car
months
guy-
after
hey,
the event.
It's hard to get car guys to spend money like that. So I don't know if they'll really watch it if it's pay per view.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't-
$60
I
an
don't know,
event. No shot
Yeah.
to watch some.
I like watching UFC too, but I only watch certain events because I'm not going to spend
Yeah.
$80 every weekend to watch a UFC fight.
Yeah.
I know I can't stomach that. That's probably the reason I don't care for UFC is because I don't care to spend the money to watch.
Half the
it.
time I fall asleep. So
Yeah.
Well, it's always so late because they're doing it like
yeah.
in Las Vegas or something.
I am excited to see Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul. I will say, just to watch. I've never gotten to watch Mike Tyson fight in my life.
Me neither.
Didn't he have a fight before this?
It's like 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, who did he fight?
I don't remember. But I don't remember.
I don't do this. It's gonna be a weird one. Like I don't know what's gonna happen.
60 years old though.
All these
Like,
fighters.
I don't know.
Yeah, but all these fighters all talk like he doesn't get in there and fight anybody. Like the dude's fighting people. Like he's
Who, Jake Paul?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
not like a horrible fighter.
No,
like, he's gone in there and backed
No,
up
he's
pretty much
good.
everything he said
Yeah.
he's gonna do.
He's a
He's
hard
definitely a good
puncher.
boxer.
Like he's
Yeah.
definitely a hard hitter.
Yeah.
like Tyson is. Not to
But
that. Like,
he's
extent.
also not been hit as many times as Tyson, and he's not old. So
He's not 57 years old,
Yeah.
58 years old, about to go.
I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen. I feel like he's sleeping on him a little bit, but
Doing it on Netflix is kind of a move too.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
what they're
pay-per-view
doing
it?
workout.
It's all
Nope,
just
okay.
right on Netflix. You don't have to pay per.
Jake Paul is a very smart promoter as far as that goes, and the
Think about
amount
how
of
many
money that they
households
make.
Netflix is in.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
The
every
amount of money they
household.
make and he pays these fighters is making them want to do it. It's crazy.
To bring Mike Tyson out of retirement, and people some people were like, "Oh, it's going to be rigged," but I feel like the second Mike Tyson gets punched a couple times, even if it is rigged,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
he's
going
getting
out of
mad.
his.
Yeah.
Like he's like in attack
Yeah.
mode. I don't
Yeah.
think
See,
you
I
can
don't. They make it like it's called an
Exhibition.
exhibition.
Yeah.
There we go.
because it's not a
Exhibition.
competition.
Yeah.
It's a Ford Expedition.
Well,
Great
that
car.
too. But I don't know. I feel like that is something they could rig.
It doesn't matter if win or lose, you're making money, so who cares?
You could rig it. I just
Yeah.
don't think Mike Tyson's capable of not.
Not yeah.
It doesn't
going
matter
into crazy person mode.
because it's exhibition. There's no winner unless somebody gets slept. So either way, you're making a bunch of money.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
we see a year or two get a bit off.
You just take a
that'll
L,
make it
just
pretty
go out there
good.
and get KO'd in the first minute, dude. You just made all the money 1 minute.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I
would be
mean?
Yeah.
great to see an ear bit off.
Another one,
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
another one.
yeah.
Jake Paul lose an ear. That'd be. He would love it too.
Or Jake Paul
yeah.
bites his ear off.
See, there we go.
I don't know
Now
if
we're
you
talking.
can get. I
Script
don't know if
flip.
I'd want to be that
Script
close.
flip there.
I don't know if I'd be comfortable being that close to Mike Tyson in any
Any-
aspect.
yeah.
Like he just seems like he could snap.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like he
I
could-
feel like you gotta have some kind of little bit of mentally thing going on there to be a fighter. Period. Every one of them's got.
we need
something.
this kind of stuff in racing. It's what's racing is missing is more drama. No Prep
No,
Kings does a
dude.
good job at that.
Yeah.
You
that
want
is
drama?
something they do
Go
good.
race no time, dude. That's it.
No,
You want drama?
Go
all
race
that?
no prep.
No time, no prep, all that.
Yeah.
Grudge racing and they
Yeah.
yell at each other.
I think
and
actually the most drama we've ever had racing is when we used to, street race.
that's same thing. Street race, grudge race, all that, dude. It's no thanks, not my thing.
I haven't watched that much drama. I saw one guy get hit with a bottle in Atlanta once. That was
Yeah, depending
Like
on
a
where
nitrous
you're
bottle
at.
or a
No,
beer bottle?
like a handle of liquor.
Yeah.
It didn't
So-
break. It just
Most of the time with the grudge racing stuff, these dudes talk as much shit as humanly possible
Yeah.
without actually throwing hands.
Yeah.
Most of the time around here, that's how that goes. But you go some places where they're not about that, and that starts happening, and you get stabbed or shot or a bottle thrown at you, and stuff like that does happen.
yeah. I wonder which tracks are most dangerous to be
Dude,
at.
Palm Beach, from what I understood, was like that.
That Yellow Belly place looks pretty cool.
Texas, yeah, that.
Yeah.
I don't know about there, but yeah, dude, I've heard of some tracks like they get.
Yeah, PBIR, I could see that. Anytime you're in South Florida, I feel like your chances of
Yeah,
being
South
stabbed are.
Florida's, it can be sketchy. especially in that
Orlando
area.
for certain races.
Yeah,
Well, people talk about that drag strip in Puerto Rico and stuff too. I feel like that could be
I
pretty rough down there.
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
I don't know.
Is it the one where
What
the
was-
shutdown like goes up in the woods? You ever seen that?
Yeah.
No.
No, I remember seeing a video of a guy like misses a shutdown and he goes down this little road and like
Yep.
dodges all these trees.
He basically becomes like an off-road racer
Yeah.
at that point because
Yeah.
he's just like,
Oh, speaking of which, what happened yesterday with your little parking lot festival there?
oh yeah. What the hell is with people that can't
I saw
like
that.
operate their cars?
Did you see it on
What?
Instagram?
No.
There was a car parked like, or they're in the parking lot. Somebody parked up against like the curb.
Yeah.
And this guy was trying to back out, had plenty of room, but was physically, mentally locked and could not do anything.
And he was pissed at me for like being 20 feet back waiting for
Yeah.
his spot. And he was just like, he was in like a new BMW. So, you know, he had every sensor, every
Yeah, just
beep ring and everything. He has 5 feet behind him, 5 feet in front of him. And he's just like the Austin Powers move,
Yeah.
but with room.
Like the car was like this. He's backed out and like he could turn and go this way, but he like gets halfway out like this and he's just like
Full panic mode.
Cooper's over here and he's honking his horn at
Yeah.
him. Like
That's Florida.
I didn't beep at him. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything. I just sat and hung out and watched because my pizza wasn't ready yet. So I was like, let me just enjoy it.
Florida is definitely entertaining when it comes to drivers.
It's the best for that. If you just like, I tell people, if you just take a breath and watch things through
Yeah.
the lens of enjoyment and not get frustrated
Yeah.
at things,
Yeah.
it's a lot more fun. If you're getting, if I started
Yeah.
honking at that guy and like
Yeah.
all frustrated and pissed off,
Yeah.
wouldn't be as fun.
no.
But because I don't really
Especially
care for
like
road rage.
spring and summertime when everybody's coming from like up north and like other places, dude, you get a melting pot of drivers and people that don't know how to drive or like even the driving style up north versus down
It's
here
so
is
different.
totally different.
So different.
And that's the best time to watch because, you know, you're like, oh, I'm in my truck, got my AC on. Finally,
Yeah.
it's not 1,000 degrees out.
Yeah.
You can kind of just watch the shit
Yep.
show unfold a little because our racing season isn't this through the summer, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're the opposite of everywhere else.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks. Everybody's like, oh man, you get to race all year. It's like, no, we get 3 months of nothing.
Dude, I wish like summertime we would just flip and just race nights. No daytime racing,
Yeah,
only
well,
nighttime.
they should do that. Just
Yeah.
nighttime racing only.
But it's still so wet.
Yeah,
It's
you
still-
get a
that's
lot of
bad.
rain.
The
but
air's
still,
still not
I
good,
hate
but-
the summertime racing, dude. It is so hot.
Yeah.
It's so tough to get down the track, and it's so hot outside.
The air is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it takes a lot for me to load up my car
In the middle of the
midsummer.
summer, yeah, that's what. But if it was a night race,
Yeah.
you'd be like, hey, you know, it's still hot. I'll sweat, but it's not like sunshine. The track's still tight. Like we can do something.
Yeah, I'll race till 2 a.m. I don't care about that.
People around the track now will, but
They might be a little frustrated by that. Some of the new neighbors.
yeah,
But my car is quiet. It's fine. It's not that loud.
we'll have an EV shootout. We'll get. I think Doug would probably sponsor that.
Oh yeah, he'd definitely be interested in sponsoring.
I'd love to
Yeah.
see an EV like Ultra Street car or something. Like somebody build something.
How do you put rules on an EV car? Like,
How did you put it on a diesel?
because it's an engine.
I know, but still, like, you know, that thing. Who knows what it could do? It's got to
Who
go
knows?
out there and do it.
Yeah, I just don't know how. Like, you're only allowed to run this much volts. You know, like
You
I
can't
don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Like, how would you do that? I don't know anything
have a
about that, so-
lockup.
Yeah,
Because you could do it either way. You could have like a longitudinal style engine to a trans to a
Yeah.
regular style rear end,
Right.
or you can put the wheel electric in there. You're gonna
they
have to
don't
learn
have
how to tune them.
I don't think they even have
No
transmissions,
no,
do they?
I'll retire.
They don't, but some people do.
Oh.
Some people do it like a motor,
To
like
a
you just
transmission.
basically took out your engine
I
and put.
gotcha.
I feel like it would be like, you know, everybody's doing the RC drag racing stuff. It'd be like the giant version of that.
yeah, you got to learn how to tune them.
Oh no, I'm good.
You're gonna have to learn how to tune an electric vehicle. At
I'll
some
retire.
I
point.
tried getting him to build one, and he's like, "I'm not building one." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Cause I'm gonna get obsessed with it. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be spending all this money on RC cars."
Yeah, no.
They make more money RC drag racing than
Yeah.
any drag racer I know.
Yeah. My cousin has one and I drove it for like 3 seconds, flipped the thing over in the bushes. I was like, nope, you can have this one, bud. I'm good.
But it's
He's
like
been dodging me too.
Yeah.
but it's like a $5,000 RC car to win like 10 grand a race.
Yeah, there was the one they just did a couple months ago. It was like an insane payout. It was like 15, 20 grand or something like that.
Imagine you went to a drag race where you won double the cost of your vehicle
That's
at the
crazy.
drag race.
Yeah.
Double?
Yeah, I mean, if you have $5 grand into your vehicle
don't
and
have
win
that
10
in your-
grand.
No, I was going to say,
No.
dude, we're talking like $1,500.
Yeah,
You
like
could have a fast
$1,500. You could have a
Yeah,
fast
so
one,
imagine you
Yeah.
proportional win at a drag
proportional.
strip.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
win like
$1 million.
yeah, 200-300 grand. Yeah.
No, more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Like the cost win is that ratio is insane in RC drag racing.
Yeah, that's they have like ramps and everything. It's like you're setting up a nitrous progressive. Like if you look at some of the stuff they do, I'm like, all right, that's cool. But
Well, some of them are like 4-link too and stuff.
I
I
was
think
gonna
that's
build
a
one.
newer
Yeah,
concept. I
was
don't
gonna
think they
build one.
actually are. I think what was that guy?
Rye talking about
yeah, that's
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, he had one that was 4-link. I was
they were
like, oh,
showing it
that's
to me,
kinda
and I was
Yeah,
like, well,
it's
that's
the guy.
nifty.
He
But
works at BTR. I forget what his name is.
Rye Kemp, right?
No. Maybe it's the clapped out guy.
Oh, Logan.
Logan,
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah.
He's got one that's 4-linked and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you can convince Logan to buy anything interesting like that. That
That
man's
dude's-
built so many cars and
that
just
guy's
gotten
funny.
rid of them.
Yeah.
That is one funny dude.
Keeping up with him and his car purchases are impossible. He just fixes it up and then almost immediately gets rid of it. It's a pretty entertaining deal.
I know a couple people like that.
What do you do with tuning? How much tuning are you still doing right now?
Less than what I was doing before. I've kind of, I'll call it slacked off of it. It was kind of wearing me out dealing with people all the time. And it kind of blew up into a point where I couldn't really keep up with it. So product was not as good as what I would like to be doing. So I kind of slowed up on it. More pick and choose of what I do.
Rather work with a person in a car than just tune a car and be like, see ya.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Like race application
He
stuff.
really just wants to do race stuff.
Yeah, I really just want to tune. I'd rather just tune race car stuff all the time. Like I do some street stuff that are for racing off road only. But yeah, it's
OEM computers don't seem fun to mess with on most
no, it
cars.
can be. There's something satisfying about taking a car that like doesn't run in like a fresh build and making it run, especially on stock ECU stuff. But there's a lot of stuff to learn with that, and I'm still learning stuff. I like learning stuff, and I like being around people that know more than I do, so that I can learn stuff. People are always like, "Oh, you're the best," and this. And that. I'm just like, "No, dude. Like you see me on YouTube, I'm not the best, but I do have an open mind, and I'm willing to learn everything from anybody." So,
Well, with like GM, there's also the best on a certain car.
yeah,
Like-
it's weird how the chassis stuff kind of sticks together. You got your CTS, your G8s, your trucks, your
Yeah.
Corvettes, and Camaros. Yeah,
Like some guys that are really good on like a C7 are not the guy that might tune your CTSV.
that and the transmission stuff too. It's like understanding stuff of the newer transmission stuffs. You got guys out there that are really good at it, and some of them don't know anything about it.
It's not like the Ford stuff where it's kind of just like, here's your tune.
Yeah, those are a lot of that stuff. I feel like it's like what they call can tunes, I guess, or somebody else called it a copy paste tuners or
Yep.
something like that.
Once they set up enough, they kind of just can hand them off, but they all have wide
Well,
bands.
that's the other thing too. Like we talked about the other day with all the Coyote stuff, is a lot of people do the same mods. There's only so much you can do versus like LS World,
Yeah.
where there's so many different camshafts and everybody puts so many different things together, and they're using Chinese parts, shit parts here and there, and
Everyone
it's
thinks
just-
they need a custom ground cam.
Yeah, like if
Here's
you
the thing, though. There's so many shelf cams out there that you will find something that'll work.
yeah,
For whatever
there's-
you're doing.
Yeah,
Most people out there don't
Yeah.
need a custom cam.
Exactly.
99% of people do
99%
not
of
need a
people don't
custom
one.
ground cam.
Yeah. That other 1%, though,
I get a lot of people mix match stuff though, because they want it to sound cool and they want the chop and they want this, and then they come in with a stock converter and like, I want it to drive nice too. Well, all those things you just listed don't actually go together.
my favorite
so-
is the 4.8 truck. They want the nasty. They want
Yeah.
the idle like a pro stock, but it's got a stock converter, and they want
Yeah.
it to drive like a kitten.
Want it to be quiet, nice and
Yeah.
cruise and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then not buying parts from you is kind of also tough, because it'd be better if they bought the parts from you and
Yeah.
then you tuned it so everything worked together.
Yeah.
I've been kind of back and forth in my head about doing like a shop style where like I'm offering packages of my parts, I put them in there, and I only tune the stuff that I build. And I'm not gonna put your parts, like you buy your parts from me, bring me the car, I have the parts, I put them in, I know what's quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus there's so many things that just come all cobbled together all the time, dude. And everything's got a dead battery, it's out of gas, it's misfiring, it's just
like what
tuner
spark
life.
plugs are in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I constantly get LT cars with LS spark plugs in them.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, what
People
are you
just
doing?
Put a TR6 in them.
Yeah.
Just let them go.
Well, the LT spark plug is like a Coyote plug. It's a longer reach plug.
Yeah.
So and they'll go put an LS plug in it, and it's misfiring. Well, I don't know why it's misfiring. Well, because it's arcing off this, that, the cylinder head, everything else that's in there besides
not
actually
in the chamber.
Yeah, doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, that seems like the nightmare of tuning. And a lot of these guys come in with budgets, and they're not like, you got to like work with what they got. Brent at PFI Speed was always really like good about that. From any time I've talked to him, he's like, oh yeah, like, well, this is all these guys got, and I just make it work. And I'm like, that seems like the most difficult way.
I feel like his would be difficult because the Honda game is
that's
very
tough to do for like installs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Installs.
No.
And
you can't install
really
other
hard
people's
to do.
parts.
Yeah.
That does not work for a business.
I mean, I'll put them in.
Like
I've done it, but I'm not warranting your part, obviously. You know what I mean? If something fails, I'm not.
But for most businesses,
free.
like, you need the money on the back end. Like, that's worked into the cost is you making money off of selling parts.
Yeah.
That's part of how it works.
Yeah.
When somebody brings all their parts in and you just install them, that's kind of like...
Yeah, you make money on the labor. You don't make money on the parts. I mean, parts markup, I mean...
Yeah, we make some money on parts.
There's not a lot of markup on a lot of that stuff.
Really?
So, and then to also take that from you is even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really worry about that necessarily, but yeah, if I'm going to be building... If I'm going to be building cars and you're going to bring me the car, we're going to have these packages for...
Do you guys wrench on that much that much stuff out of...
Not right now, no.
Other people's stuff?
No, I don't have a lot of room.
Just
I've been
our own
doing
stuff.
stuff here and there, but yeah, I don't talk about it. I don't advertise. I don't even advertise tuning. Like, it's all word of mouth stuff. So I could get a lot more business if I wanted to.
If you have a GTO, let them know. We love tuning those.
I hate GTOs, dude.
Well, that early gen computer stuff is bad.
Some of them, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned.
First gen
with them.
CTSVs are bad too.
Yeah, those can be tricky.
Those have the same deal.
Anything old, I've gotten to the point where, like, when I started tuning, I only wanted to tune like 4th gens and stuff with cable throttle bodies, and now everything's gotten so old and everything's so, like, I don't know, cheaply put together with these Chinese throttle bodies and IACs and TPSs. It just makes tuning any cable throttle body on stock ECUs nightmares at this point. Like, Matt, he won't even tune stuff that's certain, or if it's got a sheet metal intake, he like has it specifically on his site. Like, I won't tune this. Anything this old, I'm not touching.
Yeah, once you're at the point where you can turn stuff away, it's great.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah, I had one the other day that came, and he had came before. I had him change the throttle body and do a couple of things, and then I hook up to the thing, and it's the TPS is going from 2% to 17%, just sitting there idling. I'm like, all right, pull it apart. The TPS is bad. Put a new TPS on it. Oh, look at that, it runs great.
Yeah, but then how much of your time was just spent diagnosing a car?
Luckily, that time, not much time. But when he brought it the first time and I saw everything, I'm like, dude, I'm not even going to touch this thing. Like, you need to go change this stuff. I'm not wasting our time because you're not going to want to pay me for nothing. So
yep,
I just won't do it.
Yeah, diagnosing time can kill a tuning shop.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff is, if you're bringing your car to get tuned, everything else other than the actual tuning portion of it is not free.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for it.
Alpha has a checklist that he sends out beforehand that you have to make sure you go through. And then he also does a pre-tuned consult where he remote tunes in before he tunes it to see if there's any issues.
He's probably not doing stock ECU stuff either, right? That's tough with this if they don't have, like, say, HP tuners, if they don't have it. So I understand that part of it. Like, you need a base tune. Okay, if you don't have HP tuners yet, you bring it. But I'm not going to spend, like, if it's misfiring, unless it's like an 07, 08 area DOD deleted truck, most of the time they'll still run. It's not going to misfire. So if it's misfiring, it's not your camshaft.
Yeah.
I've dealt with that. I thought it was just the cam. No, you have problems.
Well, that's tough too, because if you have a car that has never run and you brought it to get a tune, you don't know if it's leaking. You don't know if it's got bad oil pressure. You don't like you.
A lot of times I'll do that too, where like, okay, it's a fresh deal. You bring it by, we'll put up a base in it. You can run through everything. If everything's good and we got time for the day, we'll run it and do some of that stuff too.
And then you put the base tune and you see him drag racing it next week, the weekend after.
Most of the time a base tune is pretty close. So yeah, if it's on Holly, they'll go out there and they'll do stuff.
You can put a base tune in a Holly and be pretty.
I've gotten to the point where some of the stuff I'm like, all right, like the Holly timing map, you can just if I know it's a boosted car and I don't have any faith in them, I'm like, all right, zero this whole area. You can't get to this RPM or that amount of boost. It's just gonna shut off.
I've heard Matt Happel say that before. He's like, I'll put a base tune in a car and like you can go, do a half-mile rolling hit with it. And I'll be confident in it. Like it'll help you enough.
Yeah, you're not gonna blow it up.
Yeah, with the closed loop helps. But that's what's nice about the Coyote stuff is their OEM have
widebands. Mopar too.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, the GM stuff they don't.
The Gen 3 Mopars are actually pretty
which I've
impressive.
heard that the newer GM stuff that's coming out has onboard widebands, but
right when they're not allowed to tune it.
That's
right when they're locked ECUs.
Yeah, like Matt being down here to tune the giveaway truck too is like, dude, I haven't messed with any of that Global B stuff at all. I know nothing of it.
Yeah,
he does some of the neural network stuff because he tunes Mopar stuff too, so he understands all that stuff and the trainer and all that stuff. I'm like, yep, you're a better fit for that job.
Do you have I know he has a connection with HP tuners, and he was talking to me about their standalone a little bit.
I briefly looked at it, that core ECU deal.
I don't know the market that they're going for.
When I read about it and it said you still had to license it, I immediately stopped reading about it.
You have to buy
credits. I was like, all right, that's here, buy my product and then you still have to pay for no, it's not.
Sounds like Motec.
Yeah.
You buy the ECU and then you have to buy the software for it.
Yeah.
But
Motec's, I feel like the software though, like Motec is like privately built on other platforms, right? Like,
yeah, you can build your own software. Like if you wanted something, you could just like build it.
Yeah.
But that almost makes too much control.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with Holly, people need to be reined in a little bit. Like if you can only do so much.
Base, yeah.
It's not like just unlimited.
You can do a lot of stuff with the Holly stuff, but yeah, there's like this Motec stuff. People just build it to what they.
Yeah. Well, that's why like Hollies, you usually use like an external traction control box. A lot of the time.
Well, it has one built in.
It's built in, but the Davis is
way better.
Preferred.
Yeah, it seems like everybody likes to use that, but then you have to pull 2 data logs.
Yeah.
And do 2 uploads and 2 laptops.
Yeah, the more stuff you start to add to it, the more things you got to do in between rounds on looking at stuff. It adds more room for error.
Yeah, if you change much in between rounds, I guess.
Yeah. If you're keeping the same tune up in it, you're going to be fine. But yeah. But that's where a lot of these will get. They go out there and get the data where they can plot their dots for their traction control or their torque management curve and the Hall Tech and stuff like that.
I've seen a little bit of the dot plotting. It seems a little weird, like where you kind of set your dots and they kind of work.
Yeah, you're setting a curve basically for torque management for traction control or your timing curve or whatever to try to meet that curve, whether it's a G meter or anything. Like we have that GATS and the AMS on the Camaro. I don't use it because it can screw you very quickly. But you can basically put in a G meter curve too. And if it doesn't meet the G meter, it's going to add percentage of nitrous and do all kinds of stuff to try to meet that curve, which I don't use it. I'd rather have full control over it and know exactly what it's going to do.
Yeah, that seems like a complex thing to.
Yeah, if you got that on there, if you have wheelie control going and drive shaft curve going to pull timing for traction, and you got the GATs throwing more nitrous at it, you know what I mean? You're going to get in trouble real quick.
Yeah, it seems like a bug could end up in the something overlap, like something left on that shouldn't. Like it just seems like more things to go wrong when you start adding more things like that.
That's why I like to keep, especially racing programs. I mean,
carbureted nitrous, no ECU at all, right?
Hey,
You're just dead in the water.
Got
no data whatsoever.
No, you could put like a race pack on there.
No, it actually has 3 gauges in it. It has an RPM gauge.
You film them going down track?
Yeah, that's how we get
the data off that car is you get an RPM trace. That's the data you get, and then whatever you videoed.
That's pretty good.
And then of course 8 spark plugs to read too.
So you have to shut it down at the top end. not drive it back. The first time I met James, his 240 had it had like an MSD box on there.
and
same exact thing.
It's really not good for what we're trying to do. It's way.
It doesn't have enough ignition power.
They don't have enough juice.
That adds up. Well, how can they? What do you want people to do? Like, what would be the call to action here? Buy merch, call you for tuning, subscribe to your YouTube. What is the buy parts? What is the
all the above?
Where are we trying to if you were to push people to one thing that you do, what would it be?
I'd say parts in YouTube.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Parts in YouTube.
Merch is cool.
His YouTube channel and
I just need to get more. I need more stuff to do on YouTube stuff. Like it's just a weird thing.
Yeah,
you got to be a certain type of person, and I just it's not me.
It's tough. It's tough to be a YouTuber. I was thinking about Cletus spin-off channels today.
Yeah,
and I was like, they all bottle rocket pretty well. They all do well, and then it's hard to be consistent over a long period of time.
Yeah, 'cause it takes money, dude, to make content.
It takes
money.
Yeah, and if you just want to drag race, and I just want to drag race. I don't really care to make like a video doing something that's not drag racing or not like towards drag racing.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I really care to do. Like, like the burnout stuff, we've both ventured into it, but it's not drag racing.
It is not. Yeah. It is not. That's what I said. Like, dude, after the first one,
I was so like, excited for that thing, and after the first one, I was like, yeah.
This isn't fun, dude. This isn't it. This does nothing. I had more fun, dude, building a dirt drag strip in my backyard and ripping it in the dirt than anything else. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
That's the tough part. It's like, I mean, you could drag and drive it, but then it's still, most of it's not drag and racing.
Fucking rough too, though.
Very rough.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do drag and drive. I still haven't. So
it's cool, and now they do it in Florida.
Yeah.
If I was to do, like, I think
I'm gonna get my 55.
I wouldn't want to do something fast for drag and drive stuff. I would run like some index thing. Like, dude, it's so rough trying to be competitive and breaking parts. And you're not only that, you're going out there, you're doing that all day. You're out in the sun, in the heat all day. If you don't make it, you're one hit and done. You're out there fighting the track, breaking parts. Then when you finally get to where you're going, you got to stay up all night to edit your video, so you get no sleep. It's rough.
Well, and then what like Brett and Jim just did was stupid.
Yeah,
like they just
blew
the whole drag and drive out of the water.
That car works so good anywhere they work. Their program is phenomenal.
Very well dialed.
Is this the Brett plug from every episode you're talking about?
The Brett reference is like the fourth one in this. The car's just I mean it's
it's hard not to talk about.
It's the most impressive car racing.
We've all known Jim forever too, but he was in the truck with me the last burnout I did.
Oh yeah,
he had a lot of fun.
I know Jim actually is moving down here. Pretty pumped.
Is he?
Yeah,
nice.
He's
where was he now? He's
Orlando. He was in Orlando, okay. Mount Dora or whatever.
I thought he's
moving down to Bradenton.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, because
everybody's coming back.
I know. I'm like, finally.
They were all around, and then they went to work at Real Street.
Yes,
something.
They both worked at Real Street, and now neither of them work at Real Street.
Gotcha.
Now Brett's at TBM, which is
that's right. Yep.
Rife, I guess more. I don't know if he actually has a position.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think he's just like they were like, yeah, we need you part of the team.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. It was a power move.
Yeah, it's just he's taking Garrett's place as fast as guy on the team. Somebody had to do it. Doug's car is still not done yet, so
is he still LT?
Doug?
Yeah.
And that thing's like it's real nice now.
388 or something.
It might be bigger than that. Maybe it's 388. It's built by
Pete.
Yeah. But then he hurt it, I think.
Yeah, they were having oil something issues. I forget what it was. He told me about it, but I don't remember.
I think it was something with oil lines wrong.
His brother's car too. That Monte Carlo, they just finished LT base also.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That thing's cool. Both done by Ryan up in Freedom Fabrication.
I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah. Ryan Psyche, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah. And Doug's car is interesting because the way they put the turbos on the.
Well, they did the same thing with Andy's car.
Yeah.
Where's
they're
the
like by the firewall.
Firewall turbos.
Yeah.
It's interesting for weight on a street car deal.
Yeah. We'll see how it does. Yeah. His old car was, I mean, the setup before was fast. I think the old setup was a 388. I don't know what this is. I don't know if it's bigger or what. I don't remember.
The problem is it's been down for a while where it was like 690s were like good in that class.
Right. Yeah.
How fast did the Nova go?
720s, I think.
Yeah, I think it went like 17. It was getting towards that sixes, like they were going to keep chipping away at it. But then now the class is like
that's the problem,
a
dude.
650 class.
You sit out a
take
year.
car down,
If
dude,
you sit out a year, forget it.
the class runs away from you. It's crazy.
Who would have thought we were going to see 20s
Yeah.
out of a streetcar?
Gosh.
If you had told me that last year, I wouldn't have believed you. So
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, even
Not
Garrett.
only that, of what it is.
Yeah. Like even Garrett has to take a pretty big swing on the El Camino if he wants to.
Yeah,
like,
chassis wise though. I mean, he's got the 4-link now, so it'll work a little bit better. But
He needs to get way out of that.
chassis wise,
It's too heavy.
yeah,
lower those turbos down to a good spot.
yeah,
I think put
Yeah.
them in the grill down low so that it doesn't try to
it'll
like
help too. But
throw
yeah,
itself backwards when it
there's
wheels.
not a lot
higher
of
it
weight
is.
over the back either, so it's a balancing action.
Yeah. And you would think the long wheelbase would help, but it actually starts to hurt at that length, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
you got to pick up for leverage purposes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Because like you would think it would help it from wheeling, but then it kind of doesn't.
Because it has way too much weight on the nose, I think, for that much
well,
wheelbase. It's
it'll
probably the
still
problem.
wheelie, but yeah, when you start topping this, if you're hooked up and topping the suspension out, you're gonna wheelie or you're gonna knock the tire off, and if it's track sticky, you're gonna wheelie.
Well, and then it doesn't fit the 28-inch tire classes either because he likes to run the 315s. So that makes it not fit the streetcar classes
Yeah,
or the 28-inch tire classes.
yeah, you kind of got to pick one and roll with it. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, I know they put a 315 on Brett's car and they just didn't like it, the look.
Yeah.
I was like, you dirtbags. Because that would have been stupid.
Yeah, I don't like the way it looks.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think I'll just stay with the 275. Because that would have worked probably pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's that much difference. I mean, there's a difference, but it's
Well, here you go. Pro 275 versus RVW.
that's what I'm saying. You're
Within a tenth. Yeah.
Yeah.
and we're talking.
And they're both unlimited.
yeah,
Really.
pretty well.
They
Wide open.
there have minimum weights, but you might as well call
Yeah.
them unlimited. They're both Pro Mod.
Yeah, they're both Pro Mods on.
Yeah.
I mean, Stevie Fast Car is genuinely a Pro Mod.
Yes,
It
But he
could
could-
have won Pro Mod if
Yeah.
he didn't go red. Like, he basically would have been.
Yeah, but like, for instance, I'm pretty sure you could put a 275 on it and run Pro 275 with that car.
I mean, it should be unlimited. It should be wide open.
LDR
That's
is
the
where
best way
you
to do
start
it.
getting into some rules.
LDR's not a 275 either.
Yeah, but LDR is where you start getting into some stricter rules, though.
Yeah, LDR's heavier.
All right, well, how can they find you? What you want people to go buy parts, get with Bobby for cams?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you-
nkpracing.com.
Yeah, that'll be in the description.
Don't put it.
NKP_racing on Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook, I've seen the ads
And
before.
on Instagram, Dr.TuneEmAll. Obviously, Dr.TuneEmAll on YouTube.
Yes.
Don't email me.
Don't email me. I take it you don't open emails often.
No, nobody has my personal email, thank God. But yeah,
Well, you gotta have a business email. So
yeah, I do. That's okay. You talk to him and then
emails are the best. Everything's on record.
Yeah,
Everything's like
Yeah, exactly.
easily
yeah.
that-
traceable.
My business email is Dr.TuneEmAll at nkpracing.com.
Okay, so I'll put the YouTube in the descriptions and stuff, and they can go there for parts. But that'll do it, guys. Thank you for coming down. I appreciate it. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we'll see you guys next time.